All right, I'm being told that we are live now. Hi, everybody. I am Cupcakes, and I'm going to be hosting for this Near Replicant run. Hello, how y'all doing? Nice to see you here today. Just as a reminder, we are here to raise money for Emre's family who lost their home to a fire in early January. The money we're going to be raising will go towards demolition costs. They are all tremendously grateful for the support, so thank you all for your help today. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to Wody. Wody, let's go.
What's up, everybody? My name is Wody, and we're going to be having some fun today playing some Nier Replicant version 1.2247713.9. Yes, that is the entire title of the game.
A lot of numbers.
It is a lot of numbers. I believe I've been told it's the square root of pi, I think is what I was told. I can't remember. It's the square root of something. But yeah, I mean, we're going to have some fun here. No, sorry, it's the square root of 2. My bad, as Rod has pointed out, is the square root of 2 here. But we're gonna have a lot of fun. This is a pretty active run. Lots will be happening. There'll be skips, there'll be combat efficiencies, and all kinds of other nonsense that's happening. So probably a good time to get into it. Now, with this game, we have to name our protagonist at the beginning of it, and there was a donation incentive to name the protag. Do we have any? Is there anything? What name do we have? I guess is what I mean to be saying.
Let me see here. Of course you stop working for me properly when I try and do things. How dare you, website?
Thank you for the good lucks in chat. See a lot of love from my community and the Nier community popping in. Welcome, welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, with the way this game works, while Cupcakes is checking, the timer starts for this run after we confirm the name.
I'm just having a great time over here exploring this website that doesn't seem to like me at all.
No worries, no worries. Hope everyone's been having an enjoyable marathon so far. I know it's only day 1, so there's plenty more to come this weekend. So it's a weekend full of events to help raise money for Emre's parents, help pay for some of the damages done to the house, or the demolition work needed for the house.
All right, I'm being told that the winner is Papa. Where is that? I'm having a great time with this, y'all.
I know where it wouldn't be a marathon without technical difficulties, right?
I guess not. Uh,
So Papa, is there a capital letter in there?
um, I'm going to be completely honest with you right now. The website hates me, so I am not actually finding it. So if somebody magical could tell me which one won here, I would appreciate it greatly. Papa Nier. Thank you, Rod.
All right. Papa Nier it is. So let's see if I can put a space in there. I can put a space. Oop, hold on. Oh my god, I'm having my own technical difficulties putting in a name in. Give me a second.
Wody, we are two halves of an entire idiot.
That's fine. All right, let's try that again. All right. I was trying to be fancy with my input. L2 is what capitalizes, not R2. All right. So if timer's ready to go, I'll count us down because once I hit yes, time will begin. So if we're ready to go, I will count us down. That's going to be 3, 2, 1, go. All right, we're off to the races. Nier here starts in a post-apocalyptic Japan. This is actually a continuation to the ending of one of Drakengard's endings. So this game is actually a spin-off from Drakengard. And this takes place kind of right after the events of that. So here we play as the unnamed protagonist, or in this case, Papa Nier. who is protecting his sister from these enemies called the Shades. So in this first kind of like tutorial stage where you learn about the game's mechanics, it's also basically just a kind of like an all-out war against a bunch of enemies. So we want to be mindful. Sometimes their AIs will be more aggressive than others. It's kind of an RNG fest. After 2 waves, we actually just stand around because we want to take the hit to move the progress. So now we've decided that we can't fight these enemies on our own, and so we need the power of the book. And so we've touched the book and we have awakened the power within us. And so now we are using it to help fight these hordes of shades. And this is where the game kind of teaches us about some of the magic that we'll learn, we'll have access to throughout the run. So here we use Dark Hand, which one-shots these enemies. We look for good grouping, so there, unfortunately, some of the enemies were too spaced out, so we didn't quite get too much out of it. And now we've got the ultimate move you'll see a lot of in this run called Dark Blast. So as you can see, the fastest thing is actually to just kind of spam this move for these next several waves of enemies until the final wave. And that's kind of what I'm doing here, just kind of running around. Because if I'm too far away from the enemies, it won't actually auto-target them. So the game is auto-targeting between the enemies I defeat. And so if they get too far away, the game will actually just lose the targeting altogether. So it's a way to kind of counterbalance losing the targeting by just making sure you kind of run back and forth with how spaced out the enemies are. So right off the bat, see right there, we lost the targeting because we were too far away from the group, but it's fine. Easily recoverable. So let's continue on. A little bit of couple hits here and there from the enemies. All right. Got our Dark Lance, so about one more wave of these baddies, and then we'll be able to move on to the boss of the prologue. All right, and that is the waves of enemies. Yes, how to break your R1. That is a very accurate way to look at this game. This game is a lot of button mashing, so hands beware. All right, so we're going to actually fight the enemy in the air because it saves us from the sweeping attacks it does by kind of being above it. If we jump too high, our targeting will be a little off. There we go. Now, normally you want to actually spam R1, not hold it, because the first hit of Dark Blast actually does the most damage. But admittedly, sometimes it is easier to just hold the button versus spamming it, depending on the way the enemies are grouped. And that's the end of the prologue. So now we're going to have ourselves a casual time skip. Casual time skip of about, I don't know, 1,412 years. Your pretty standard time skip you find in most video games, I'd say.
Do we have a TARDIS for that, or?
No, time is just where the story decides to pick up from. So now we've moved past to a different group of people. Though, weirdly enough, our hero looks like the character we just played as. And so does our sister. Though you didn't see the sister because we skipped the cutscene, but her name is Yona. The name of the girl here is also Yona, which is, I think, a weird coincidence, but who knows? Maybe they'll play into it later. So here we are, just living a casual life in the village. Yona is not well. She's a little sick, and so we just kind of do things daily to kind of get by, earn money by running errands for people of the town, being able to buy medicine for our dear sister. And so we're going to see the leader of the village, or one of the leaders of the village, Popola. Popola occasionally gives us work to do, so we are going to see if she's got anything for us to do, so we can earn our keep here. Yona. So all dialogue is mashable in this game, so we don't have to worry about actually reading any of these cutscenes. So as you can see, I'm just mashing through all the dialogue. So Popola says we need to go collect some sheepskins for the item shop owner, and so we are on our way to go collect some sheepskins. This cutscene that I'm about to skip gives a little more context to the story. It talks about how in this world people are dying. There's this disease called the black scroll, which is affecting people and basically killing them over time. Hey, RNG's in our favor there. So that pickup I just got is not always there. So one big thing about Nier is that just like any other RPG style game, there is money. You need money to do things, and money is not guaranteed in most cases. So we're going to pick up random drops. They're not guaranteed to be there. That drop helps us because we get a medicinal herb early, which allows us to need one. We basically need 3 for the first side quest that we do. And so by being able to pick up one, it saves us the need to buy it, which is super helpful. I think that sheep's going to kick me. So here we take out some sheep. So what we do is we actually use the animal call because it makes them come to us. So the good news is we've gotten 2 mutton. So there is an RNG factor to this where you may get wool. Looks like we got the lucky 3 mutton drop. So we did not have to lose time to picking up wool. I actually had one battle or one run where I think I picked up like 8 things of wool. It was pretty ridiculous. And okay, there we go. There we go. So we take out the 3 shades and we move on with our day. In this game, with the type of game this is, there is a lot of movement tech that you're going to see me performing. One of the most common things we do here is what I'm doing right now. I do an evade and a light attack. Evade and light attack is the preferred way to travel in the world because it's much faster than just running and sprinting like normal. You can also do evade and heavy attack, but depending on the land, sometimes you will accidentally put yourself in the air and that can slow you down. So we deliver the mutton to the guy here. I realize we need 3 medicinal herbs. We got 1 drop, or we picked 1 up. We start out with 1, and then the game didn't give us a 3rd one, so we had to buy our 3rd and final one. And so now we're gonna go back to Popola and tell her or go back to Popola to give her the 3 medicinal herbs that she needed. Because basically we run a bunch of errands for people in town, or as we gamers love to call it, fetch questing. And that's how we make our living here in the beginning of the game. And right there, I'm trying to perform something called the guard lift. Guard lift is definitely one of those more advanced techs we use in the speedrunning that even if you've been running this game for months on end like I have, there's sometimes still inconsistencies with getting it to pull off the first time you try it. Luckily I don't have to do it to actually move forward. There are going to be points where if I fail it, then I have to just keep trying until I get it. But for that one, if I fail it, I can just kind of take a non-lifting method through it, where I just kind of climb up like normal. But here, we're going to go check on our sister, see how she's doing. And we kind of do this for a good chunk of the beginning of the game. We just kind of make a daily living here. So we check on her sister. She hears about this thing called the lunar tear. The lunar tear may supposedly help heal her or make her feel better. She read it in a book that Popola gave to her. There were some awful alternatives. Well, luckily when I joined the community, this was the method of travel that everybody was using and the fastest. So I'm okay with that. Sometimes it's nice to come into a community after it's kind of already been routed and ran by a bunch of people. Then you can just kind of pick up from where the people before you taught. And there we go. We got our first guard lift. Guard lifting can be rough. We actually the way guard lifting works is, and admittedly it's a little hard to explain, but basically I have to jump, and while I'm in the air, kind of near the height of my jump, I need to very briefly block. And the minute I guard, kind of like guard in midair, but it's very brief. You've got to basically like flick the trigger button or whatever button you have set to guarding. And after you do that, you have to basically do a heavy attack. And if done properly and quick enough and in the neutral position, you'll see what I just did there, where I kind of do like a rising attack, but in a midair stance. We use it to elevate ourselves to hop over ledges, hop over walls, get height on areas that we normally shouldn't be able to get height on. It's a big part of the any percent run we have here. So now we are continuing to do some errands for the village. Popola has requested that we go deal with some shades here by this bridge that is currently being rebuilt, and so we are now going to do that. So with these kind of bigger shades, these enemies don't like die in like one hit. Most enemies won't die in one hit, but the good news is this game has a down attack, and so what we do is we do a jumping heavy attack because it will actually stun the enemies to the ground, and we run over and hit the circle button to perform a down attack, which is basically an instant kill. And early on, I forgot to mention this, but you saw I switched weapons. I switched weapons over to one of the DLC weapons. So originally, the DLC weapons were actually banned when I first came to the community, and then some time had passed, and then the community announced that they had decided to unban the DLC items and allow people to use them. And so now we actually use the DLC weapons for the early part of the run. Mostly because when we start buying weapons as part of the run, we actually don't need the DLC weapons, because the big thing about the DLC weapons is that while they're strong physically speaking, they have 0 magic power, and magic is a big part of the damage we do. And so most of the weapons we actually route into the run are magic based weapons. There's very specific weapons that we're going to be going for. Going to be hoping the money is nice, and it's going to allow us to actually get those items, so we can have the best case scenario for our battles, and really the fastest version of the battles. Because realistically, you can finish just about any run of Nier. It's just a matter of how fast. Because if you don't have the right weapons, your battles are going to be pretty slow. And so if you want to get those top times, then you definitely need to hope your money goes well. So we went to Popola, told her we took care of the problem, and so we are now going back to check on our sister once again, because she's sick. It's only just us two. We don't have parents or anything, because, you know, anime. There are no parents in anime usually. And so I know it's a broad statement. There are definitely parents in anime. But she's not here apparently, and so now we need to go figure out where she went. We're gonna go back to the library and check on her. How are we doing over there, Cupcake?
Well, I've got my mic muted most of the time, so you don't hear me screaming. But hey, how are things going with you? This game is really pretty.
Yeah, it is, and it's crazy part is like, so I'm playing this on PS5, but this is a PS4 game. It was not optimized for PS5, so this isn't like an upscaled version like Final Fantasy VII Remake got, or a few other games have gotten over release. But yeah, I'm playing this on PS5. But yeah, it's actually been really well made. Especially because if you play the original game from 2010, that game, it looks a special kind of way, I must say. It's a very, very ugly game. That was actually one of the common jokes with people who reviewed the original Nier game, because this is a remake of a game from 2010. And there were a lot of jokes about how the protagonists in that game looked. Because in the original game that we got in America, you actually play as Papa Nier, because you're actually a father and daughter in the story, not a brother and sister.
It's an interesting change to make.
Yeah, I can actually elaborate on that if you're not familiar with the series. So Nier came out in 2010 originally, and there were two versions of Nier back then. There was Nier Replicant and Nier Gestalt. And Nier Replicant was actually never released in America. For whatever reason, Square Enix, I guess, felt that Western audiences would be able to relate to a father and daughter story more than a brother and sister story. And so when they brought the game to America, they decided to bring the father and daughter plotline to America over the brother and sister one. And so when they remade the game after Automata was such a massive success and the popularity of the series skyrocketed, they decided to remake this game and, you know, update the combat system thanks to the help of Platinum, and they, I guess, decided on the brother and sister storyline instead this time around. So here we are. We found that Yona has decided to head to the Lost Shrine because we had talked about lunar tears, and supposedly there are lunar tears here at the Lost Shrine. And so we are making our way to go rescue her, or go find her ultimately. And so we jump off the ledge here. It's a little bit of a shortcut to save us from taking the long way around. Even though there are a lot of invisible walls in this game, the wonderful community has spent tons of time finding all the various walls that can be pushed past and pushed through, or walls that aren't even there that you would think are there, because there's mostly walls around there. It's like only that like one area I was able to push through.
Thank you, community.
All right, and here we are in the shrine. The shrine gets pretty crazy when we later on in the run. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but here in our first visit to the shrine, it's pretty standard. On the console version of this run, I'm perfectly fine. Just a little problem there. We fell down. No worries. Not the end of anything. It's a small time loss. But the console version sadly doesn't have some of the skips that the child version of Nier. I'll go ahead and just spoil it. There's a time skip later where we become an adult. And the child version of Nier doesn't have some of the same skips that the adult has, because the adult just has slightly better movement tech because he can use 3 weapons. And so as a result, the console variation of this area is actually a little bit slower because we can't do what's called a ladder clip as a child to skip pretty much everything you're seeing here. Normally you'll see when we come back here that I'm going to skip everything I'm doing right now. It's going to be really cool looking, so definitely look forward to revisiting this area as an adult. But yeah, I mean, while we're just climbing, do we have any questions or anything you want to share, Cupcakes?
Let's see here. We had a $5 donation from Rod that just says for Papa Nier.
Nice, thank you, Rod.
And we had a $50 donation from Anonymous, no comment, but thank you so much, Anonymous.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, this is the ladder I was referring to. So as an adult, we're actually going to clip through that ladder and basically skip everything you just saw me do with going through the various doors and stuff. So here we have another group of big shades. So like I said, we do the kind of jumping attack and down attack. If you position it just right, you can get them to be knocked down in multiples. Usually you can take down 2 before they get up in most cases. So if you do it just right and move fast enough and position it properly, you can usually down 2 of them in one attack. Save yourself a little bit of time. All right, looks like we got 3 of them. If we move fast enough, we might be able to get all of these downs. All right, the last one just got up right as we got over there. Sometimes it also depend on how they fall too. So certain positions that you fall in lead to longer get up animations, and so that would give you more of an opportunity to take the enemy out before they get up. I think maybe 1 or 2 times I've actually gotten the 3 downed enemies before one of them gets up. All right, we've gotten to the top of the shrine now. And here at the top of the shrine, you're going to witness kind of one of our first skips, if you will. It's called the Rooftop Skip, or at least that's what I call it. I don't know if it's actually called that, but Rooftop Skip seems applicable. And so in a little bit here, we're actually going to hop over a wall that you're not really supposed to hop over. So normally what you do in this section is there's a place off to the left, you take a box, and then you move the box by a ladder, and then from the ladder you climb up and kind of do all the stuff to get where you need. Instead, we're going to use the guard lift to hop over the wall, so I can kind of get my positioning down properly. Sorry, this one is definitely one of the harder skips to perform, and we got it. All right, first try, right? Totally.
Hi.
That is definitely one of the more harder like skips to kind of get down efficiently in a run, for sure. I will say, because sometimes you can like pull the guard, you can get the guard lift off, but then what will happen there is the game will hit like an invisible barrier. I've had it happen, and it kind of like pushes you downwards. All right, so here we find our good friend Grimoire Weiss. We've broken him out of his little containment field because Yona's kind of stuck behind this wall, so we're trying to get through, break this magic barrier. And so now we're getting help from our good buddy Liam O'Brien here.
You can really do that?
But in the meantime, we have to fight a wave of shade. So this is one of many moments in this game that are actually timed dialogue conversations. So no matter how fast I kill these enemies, the game isn't going to go any faster. So instead of tiring out my hands with how button mashy this game is, because honestly, you run this game enough, you're gonna feel it in your hands. I will promise you that. Instead, what we do is weaken some of the enemies, and we wait for very specific dialogue to be said. He's gonna say, "Are you for real?" Once he says, "Are you for real?" then I'm gonna wail on the enemies.
Oh dear.
So yeah, we beat on Weiss. He's lost a lot of his memories, so he's a little forgetful right now.
Real?
Oh, here we go. He said, "Are you for real?" Now we kill the enemies,
You claim to be.
and boom, we have moved on to the next phase. So this is another time-based one. So I kind of just destroy the first wave, and then once in a little bit here, they should start talking.
Did you
And this time around, I basically kill all but one enemy, and then we just kind of hang out.
Okay.
Sorry, I heard Leo O'Brien and started thinking about Sonic Forces again.
You all right, boss? Hang in there.
He is a great voice actor. I mean, there may be some other actors. There's some pretty good talent when this game came out for 2010.
Is this magic?
There's definitely some really good talent in this game. Later on, we're going to hear Laura Bailey. She's another main force in this game.
Come on, Nona. I'm coming. Is that all of them?
And so as this magic was our next cue, and so now we're just waiting. All right, now we get into our next boss battle against Hansel and Gretel. So with this
Like
battle,
the Witch Hunters?
yep, like the Witch Hunters, you got it. So we have to fight both of them at the same time, but what the game does is one of them will actually put up an impenetrable shield, so we focus on the other one. And what we can do is we can actually counter their attacks to do maximum damage to kind of help. And so with that, we actually push through phase one. So we basically just beat on them until we get the little circular icon there, which helps us push the phase. So now we're only going to fight one of them. So we got to be kind of mindful of our positioning, because the barricade there, as you can see, if we hit it, will deflect us, but we got the counter. Counter does a lot of damage, so the counter is definitely a way to kind of heavily push the phase a lot quicker. So now we've got the final phase. We can get the counter. We got hit by one of the little guys. I was gonna say the counter. There we go. Now we got the counter. Yeah, the counter basically helps finish it out a lot quicker, as you can see there. Maximum damage, and that is Hansel and Gretel. So a lot of battles are going to boil down to a combination of spamming Dark Blast, which is set to my R1 button right now, and basically a sequence of melee attacks. Depending on the enemy, it might be a heavy attack, which is triangle, it might be a light attack, but basically how most battles will go. Some of them have a little more gimmick to them or things we have to watch out for, and we'll talk about those when those battles come up. But with that, we've saved Yona. She feels sorry about putting us through this trouble. She was just trying to help, and so now we're taking her back home so she can rest. Sadly, she's not doing too well. The black scroll is making her weaker and weaker as time goes on. But what ends up happening now is we're going to go talk to Popola, and Popola is going to tell us a little bit more about who Weiss is, what his deal is, and how we might be able to help save her by collecting these things called the sealed verses. And so now we go on a big quest to find these sealed verses to try and help our sister be healed up. So before that, we have to go to a place called the Ari for Popola, because she needs us to go talk to the village chief and check on him.
She's just a little kid. She doesn't deserve this.
Now a good time for some donations?
Yeah, sure. Go for it. Yeah, we're basically just going to be running around a bit, so go for it. You got any?
Alrighty, we have $50 from Vulcan146 that says, Fire bad, Emre good, Kizaran okay, by association. And we have $601 from, please excuse me if I pronounce this wrong, Sabera Macia, that says, bid wars that are overwhelming aren't much fun, so let's put Mila under a little more threat that others might be impelled to save her. Thank you both so much.
Thank you so much. So right here is a common thing I, for some reason, fall into. I don't know why, but I was actually supposed to talk to Popola's twin sister, Devila, there first, which is funny because it got to a point where my split for this actually says talk to Devila, dummy. Apparently I didn't listen to my own advice there.
Okay, we got the twin sister angle, so I can mark that off on my anime checklist.
What else you got in your anime checklist?
We need somebody with pink hair and then somebody who just kind of floats around for no reason.
Well, we've got the floating around for no reason.
Yeah, you got the book that's following you occasionally.
Don't
Whatever
worry.
that was.
No, it's a book. There'll be more floating, don't worry. Sadly, there is no multicolor. For a game that still kind of feels anime at times, Devil and Popola are really the only characters with colorful hair. Most characters in this game have white or black or brown hair, like pretty standard hair coloring. But yeah, sadly, there won't be any pink or purple haired characters.
Well, that's boring. How dare you not put the fun colors in my anime that I'm watching right now?
Speaking of anime, now it may not be related to Replicant, but they actually just announced an anime for Automata, the game that is a sequel to this game.
Yeah, it's a real toe tapper.
I saw that. A lot of people are excited, and I'm very happy for them. I have no idea what that means, but good job for them.
It's pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited personally.
Good. It's good to have happiness. Also, I would like to put out there that the one comment that we had, Kizaran is awesome. I don't know if you're aware of that, but yeah.
All right, so here we're actually going to buy our first weapon, the Lily Sword. The Lily Leaf Sword is going to give us a boost to our magic damage, so that way we're going to be able to do a bit more damage with magic, which is, like I said earlier, kind of a big part of how we're going to save time and get through these battles as fast as possible is magic spamming as well as melee spamming. But it's easier to spam magic than it is to spam melee attacks. So right now what I've been doing while we've been talking is I've actually been going around starting a couple side quests. Now, while this is a JRPG, there's plenty of side quests that you do outside the main story. Obviously, for speedrunning purposes, we don't actually do all of them, but there have been a handful that have been routed for various reasons. Some that are just really quick and easy to do to earn money. Ones that take, because a lot of the side quests are like you have to go fetch a bunch of items, and a lot of times you have to farm those items. But the good news is, with some of the quests that we accept, we can actually buy those items, and by buying those items we can just easily complete the quest, and so we can earn some pretty quick money with doing very little effort outside of the main parts of the run. And then we also needed to accept the quests for the boar hunting. So one of our main forms of travel, because this is a little, while this is faster than normal, this is a little bit slow for the overall run, is that we're actually going to defeat this boar here, because when we complete the quest, we actually gain the ability to ride the boar. That's what's going to be used for a lot of our map progression. So we're actually going to use the strength drop we picked up in the house earlier, and so we're going to beat on the boar from here. I'm actually going to try and position him to back up towards where we need to go to save me some time. And so we need to make sure that before he headbutts us, we throw a spear, because it will actually stun him just long enough to let us keep spamming. We just kind of keep doing this. We can actually do that. And then we're going to harvest, and we're going to hope for not boar meat. Sadly, boar meat is actually the lowest item to sell in that group there. So the boar has 3 things we can get from it. We can get a liver, a meat, and a tusk. I don't remember how much meat and tusk give you, but the liver gives you 2,500, which would have been ideal. But RNG, it's the name of the game, and so we just continue on from there. So here we are in the Ari. We're gonna go see the village chief, but we're gonna get to the village chief by hey, we got a meteorite. Now that's some run luck playing in our favor. That is actually a good item to get, because that's gonna sell for a decent amount of money. Actually, it's a pretty rare item. But what we're going to do here is I'm going to perform something called a void out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to manipulate the spawn points on the ground there when I'm, not missing the platform by ½ an inch. But basically we're going to manipulate the spawn points so that when we get to the end, we can actually warp right back to the beginning without traveling to the beginning on our own. So you'll kind of see what that means if I've done it properly here at the end. But you'll notice that instead of me just following the path, I'm literally jumping in the air and skipping parts of the platform. That's because there are these hidden spawn point reset triggers that are on the ground that if you pass them, the game automatically updates your spawn point. And so by doing the stuff that I'm doing, I'm preventing myself from doing that. And so it's going to allow me to get back to the beginning very quickly instead of taking the long way.
Odie, I have a question.
Yes.
So the Lily Sword.
Yes.
For my anime checklist, would you consider that to be crazy weapon that kills gods?
No.
Okay, we have not checked that off then yet. Thank you very much.
No problem. And that is a full void out there. So as you can see, when I jumped off the edge, it worked me back to the very beginning. So now we can exit pretty much instantaneously and not lose time traveling back on foot a long way because we touched those trigger points. And you'll see me do that a few times throughout the run where I will purposely skip things in an effort to move faster through them. So here we meet everyone's favorite waifu, Kaine, voiced by the wonderful Laura Bailey. And we've defeated her. Not quite defeated her, but we have taken down phase 1 of her. Phase 2 should be pretty quick because she goes in for the attack and then I missed the block. So it won't be as quick as I wanted it to be, but that's fine. We made it quick anyway. But while fighting her, we get invaded by an enemy called Hook. He's kind of the terror of the area of the Ari, and so we need to stop him from causing too much damage.
Does he have a crocodile?
He does not have a crocodile, sadly.
Is there going to be a random boy in green assaulting him for various reasons?
There will not be, unfortunately.
Really? They named a character Hook and they didn't go for any of the Peter Pan references? I'm kind of disappointed.
Well, that was so funny enough. It's not that they didn't go for the references, but a lot of the characters are named after what feel like characters in stories, actually, believe it or not. Because, Hansel and Gretel, we've got Hook. We do have Jack of Hearts later on. Geppetto. So there are definitely fairy tale elements to the enemies that you will see.
This is slowly becoming the best game ever.
It's a very good game. It actually, I love the original Nier game. So when I became a speedrunner, Nier Replicant, the remaster, hadn't been out yet, and I had pretty much committed. I was like, when this game comes out, I will definitely be speedrunning it as one of my games. Here we are, months later. It was actually my most played game, according to my PlayStation yearly report last year. All right, so we've taken down Hook. Kaine has revealed her actual name to us at this point, And so now we are headed back to go check on Yona. See how things are going in the village at this point. That's fair. Weiss could be a crazy weapon to kill a god, in a way. So here we're going to actually do a drown warp. So this game has very specific points at which you can spawn when you fall in the water. So as most games have it, you can't actually swim. The protagonist can't swim in this game, just like many other games. And the game has predetermined respawn points. So it's not a case where like you fall in water and you respawn close by. You warp to a very specific spot. And so we use the drown warp there to get back here a little bit quicker instead of doing this movement tech across the water or across the land the entire time. And so from there, now while we said we were going to go talk to Popola, we're actually not going to talk to Popola, even though the game wants us to. Reason for that is because we've routed, or not we, but the people before me, I'm just playing what they routed. The people before me routed a very specific path to take to optimize things like money, item drops, just things you collect. And so we actually want to talk to Yona first and do the checkup on her part of it, because this will trigger this version of the story where we're actually going to go to a place called Seafront first before we go to a place called Junk Heap. We actually want to go to Junk Heap after Seafront because we're going to hopefully get, or not hopefully get, we're going to be buying some strength boosting items in Seafront that we'll use in the Junk Heap.
So how do you keep all this straight in your head? Because there's a lot there.
Well, admittedly, it's definitely something that's come with pain over initial runs, but then as I thankfully have done the run many times for many months there, it just kind of got ingrained into my head, because I may have failed a run or two by messing up the sequence. So it kind of sticks with you after a bit when you do it wrong enough times. It's all the joys of learning, right? Plus I have notes that I look at still, and those kind of tell me who to go talk to.
Notes are good.
So here we're going to turn in our boar quest so we can ride the boar and also get 1,000 gil. So it's another reason why we do it. It's for the money.
Sure.
And we're going to start that quest. And then funny enough, it just dawned on me as we were sitting here, I actually forgot to change my weapon, so we actually were doing less magical output than we should have, which might explain a few things. So see, even many experiences with this run, you can find yourself making tiny mistakes. So we went ahead and swapped our weapon to the proper weapon, so the battles from here will go a lot smoother. But here we're going to hop on the boar. As you can see, it's a much faster form of travel. But before that, we need to rescue this person getting beaten up by the shades before we can go any further. Gotta basically protect them. It's also the way the game teaches us about words. So another kind of RNG element to this game are words. So words are things that we can use to have a conversation with a person in real life. But what they actually do in this game is we use them to stat boost ourselves. So you can use words to actually improve your weapon strength. You can use it to improve drop rates. You can use it to improve magic damage. It's just a whole mix of things that they can actually do. Completely RNG. There's literally no way to force which drops we're going to get. And so as a result, we just kind of take with what we get. Sometimes you get lucky, you get like plus 20% physical damage. Sometimes you only do an entire run with 5% physical damage. So it's part of the fun. All right, we've made it to Seafront. So we've come to Seafront because we've been told that a thing called a shaman fish might be able to help heal Yona, or help make her feel better. But before that, we're going to stop at the grocer buy 3 tulip bulbs, because the tulip bulbs are used to complete one of the quests that we started. And that's just going to be some quick and easy money. They're like 50, so like 150 for 3 is so much easier than trying to get them any other way. Plus, admittedly, I don't know if there is another way to get it other than buying it. Maybe planting stuff or hoping for random drops in the world. And now time for everybody's favorite thing in a video game, fishing. Thankfully, fishing is easy. I mean, you can still kind of get bad RNG and pull out a bucket. It's not super common, but thankfully we don't have to do a ton of fishing. And thankfully fishing in
mini game to the list.
You know, right? Thankfully fishing is a pretty easy compared to originally. Like they made it a lot better. And though it looks like we got the fishing troll, marathon luck at its finest, folks. We got the aquatic plant. No worries, we just fish again. Usually you get an aquatic plant if it bites on number 2. You want a 3 bite. It should take three dips to bite.
I mean, your sister's room is kind of gloomy, so you could put the aquatic plant in her room and maybe she'd feel better. It seems like literally everything is going to make her feel better in some way, shape, or form, according to lore.
Well,
have we found anything that we know won't make her feel better?
Probably the disease she has right now.
Fair.
So here we talk to the old lady at the lighthouse. Admittedly, it's been so long since I played this game casually. I actually don't remember what we're doing to help her. Oh, we're going to check on mail for her because she's sadly a bit old. It's painful for her to come here to the post office and check for some letters from her loved one. And so we've gone to go pick up her mail to deliver to her, plus pick up a letter from Popola as well. So from there, we are going to go back. Now we're going to perform the Lighthouse Skip. So there's actually a cutscene trigger that we're going to skip over by performing a guard lift over this wall here. And so, yep, no cutscene. And then we're going to try to skip going around by going this way instead of taking the long way around. We just guard lift on the ledge nearby. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Probably a good thing I keep muting myself because I just snorted when you said easy peasy lemon squeezy. I haven't heard that from anybody outside my kid's sister in years.
Thank you. I think
that's a good way to respond to that.
Cool. I'm here for it. Hey, I say easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'll say cool beans. I'm here for all of it. All right, so now we've dropped off all the mail and stuff. So now we're going to basically get the shaman fish back to Yona. We have also need to do the the lighthouse skip one more time. So the trigger is still there, so we do need to do this one more time. The second time is a little bit trickier because of the placement of the rock, but we got through anyway. Now we're going to do one of our first shopping sessions where we're going to go in, sell everything we've got. Thankfully we got that meteorite, which gives us 5k. Super rare item to get, so it's pretty dope that we got it. And then we're going to sell everything except for healing items, the shaman fish, and the tulip bulbs. And with that, we've got 14,000, which is honestly way more money than I normally would get, so it's pretty dope to have. And so we're going to be able to afford 6 of each item to help really power through some of the upcoming battles. Probably could have got 8 there, but for marathon safety purposes, I decided to do the normal 6 and 6 I get. Just in case the later money venture doesn't pan out too well, because there is a part later on that is full RNG when it comes to money drops, and recently had one of my weakest performances yet, so we're just going to try to be ready for it, I should say. Today we're gonna head back, check on Yona, deliver the fish to her. With the boar, you have to be careful, because anytime an animal runs straight into a wall, it's probably gonna stop when it hits the wall. It's the same thing here. So if I run into the wall with the boar, while it's moving fast. It will knock me off, and of course, you know, it's a time loss when that happens, but you know, it's fine.
So what you're saying is that if the boar runs into the wall, you're not saving the frames or the animals.
Nope.
Don't tell Yona, okay?
We are saving anything there. There we do another drown warp, and then from there we guard lift to get up here a bit quicker, because it just helps us out getting to the house a lot faster. And so here we give Yona the fish.
So I know how you just made all that money and stuff by selling that really awesome meteorite and everything.
Yeah.
I would just like to point out that right now we have raised $2,466 for Emre's family, which is amazing. As you all know, her family lost their home to a fire in early January, so the money that we are raising is going to go towards demolition costs, and they are all tremendously grateful for all of the support. But I would also like to point out that if somebody donated $3, it'd be really funny. To me personally. Just putting that out there.
Oh, I wonder why that could be. All right, so here we're doing a pretty common thing you've been seeing me do a lot of. We go talk to Popola, kind of get the down low from her about, you know, what we can do next or what to do next. And so now we've been told to go check out a place called the Junk Heap for these. Check out these two brothers. Apparently, they have the ability to possibly help me improve my weapons to allow me to fight enemies better by strengthening my items. So we're actually going to go check on the brothers. We're going to go meet the brothers. Yes, there's a lot of stuff you can put $3 towards. Plenty of donations. Still got a weekend full. This is only day one, people. We've still got a weekend full of things.
What do you know about this junk heap?
I guess there are ancient ruins buried there?
So the game also has kind of like an auto attack system if I attack near an enemy. So sometimes when I'm trying to like move, it may redirect me. Just happens. Not the end of the world when it does, but you know, we make it work as best as we can. So here we skip the initial the ladder climb by kind of jumping past the first ladder, because honestly climbing ladders is slow, so the more that we can avoid climbing them, the better. So we hop off the ledge, do some aerial movement tech to basically cut across the canyon and squeeze onto the first platform there.
You may have already covered this, but whose journal are we seeing on the loading screens?
It is the main character. It's Yona's journal. It's Yona's journal.
Okay, I thought so, but I wanted to double check.
Yeah, because she'll reference her brother. Because you'll see the name of the character, the name you give the character, show up in the journal. So we talk to the brothers. They tell us that they can help make our weapons stronger, but we need to collect 3 titanium alloys, and so we're headed into the junk heap now to collect said alloys.
Will the alloys get us the weapon that could possibly kill gods?
They will not, because we only upgrade 1 weapon in the entire run.
Am I going to be able to check this off my anime list or no?
I mean, it depends. If you count Weiss as the weapon that fights God, because kind of in a way, like, you know, if we want to jump ahead in story context, I mean, that's kind of like what he ends up doing. Like, use him to fight the final boss, which is not really a god, but like you could probably argue for the case that he might be, or at least he probably thinks he's a, I would say he thinks he's a god.
God complex.
Yeah,
there you go.
He's got a god complex. Would be probably how I'd put it. Oh, my luck, I'm way off base because it's been so long since I've actually paid attention to the story. I may be misremembering those facts. once you start speedrunning a game, it's like, story, what is that?
I'm just gonna go with whatever you say as being the gospel because I've never played this game. So whatever you say goes, at least for the context of this run.
Hey, it works for me. So what's crazy is, so this game actually has 5 endings, believe it or not. So the speedrun only gets ending 1, the first ending that you get from just beating it the first time. But there's actually 5 endings, and so like you get them from subsequent playthroughs. So when you beat the game the first time, you replay it, but it starts over on New Game Plus from about halfway through the game, and then there's like more context given to some of the stuff you were doing, and then you get a different ending, and then you do some stuff, and then you get another ending, and then you do some more stuff, and you get another, and you just kind of keep doing you do very specific things, and more endings are unlocked to kind of tell the complete story all in one as a result. So there's plenty of replay value for sure with the game, of course, especially if you're a completionist who wants to go for all the endings. So here,
Oh, wait a minute. This speed run is about 4 hours long,
yes,
and there are more endings that you could do to make it longer.
yes, but as far as I'm aware, nobody has really looked at doing an all endings speedrun because it's very time consuming. Because for context, to get one of the endings, you have to collect all 33 weapons, and to collect all 33 weapons, you have to complete side quests in some cases, and some of those side quests require you to complete prerequisite side quests to unlock those quests that give you said weapon. So we don't have a category for all endings. There have been some people who've talked about doing an all endings run, but nothing like in an official leaderboard format. It'd be like kind of like you do it for yourself kind of thing. But yes. But ending B honestly is like speedruns for ending B. So we have a ending A category, an ending B category, and then an ending E category. And then there's a few other categories in the well, but only 3 tied around endings. And ending B is only like an hour and 10-minute speed run. It's a much shorter speed run. Since you only...
Is that why the A in any % easy has parentheses around it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clever labeling from the community. It was like that when I got there, so. But
No, that's a really great idea.
Yeah, I always thought it was pretty neat. Maybe Rod knows who. Maybe Rod knows whose idea that was. But
I am learning so much.
glad to help. So we return the titanium alloys, which unlocks the ability to upgrade weapons. But then while we're there, the little brother keeps complaining that he wants his mother. And their mother has gone missing for a while. She went into the junk heap to collect things and hasn't returned for some time. So we graciously decided to help them out and go look for their mother. And so now we've gone back into the junk heap, this time with a access code to take the elevator. And so we're going to take the elevator down to the basement floor. We're going to go to B1 in this case. And we're going to see if we can locate her.
I know we already had the Metal Gear Solid run, but for some reason when you got to the elevator, the theme from Snake Eater just started playing in my head. I don't know why.
You know, if it makes me feel better, I always joke with this game. This game is actually what feels like a bunch of other games mixed in one at times. Like there are elements from many games that will pop up in here. Like there's a cutscene, for instance, we won't see it, but there's a cutscene that literally acts like it's in a Zelda game. Like it's the same chest opening, like, you know, when Link collects an item, kind of holds it above his head method, like that happens, same sound effect and everything practically. There's a section that's going to look like a old-fashioned Resident Evil game. There's a text adventure. There's like some Diablo isometric stuff that happens. I always joke that this game feels like a bunch of like game ideas like thrown together in one.
That's awesome. I love it when games do that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's very well done. So we got a tutorial about learning how to throw about breakable objects, because we don't want to get that while we're carrying an explosive item, because timing gets really tight on it, that bomb is going to blow up the minute you end that tutorial. So by not having it, it saves you the risk of that. So we get that first while the bomb is spawning, you know, optimize our time here. Then we break the barrier. And then from here, we're on a minecart. So if you had minecart on your bingo card for anything, then that should be good.
I have minecart on there because there's always one, or, you know, rail grinding.
Good point, yeah, rail grinding. So here, to make the minecart move, we actually have to run forward. So we can't really stand, I mean, you can kind of stand still, but the cart won't move as effectively. So you kind of have to run forward to make the cart keep moving. But then you've got these enemies, so, you know, we spam the Dark Blast move to try and help keep them away and keep them at bay. As you can see, the groupings really power up from there, or a lot of them start showing up. But thankfully we don't need to actually kill these enemies, and we can actually melee those orbs. Actually, destroying the orbs will replenish our magic, which is super handy. Now we are playing this one on easy, which, funny enough, even for easy, I wouldn't say other than enemies dying kind of fast, it's not like a drastic like difference in difficulty to where like one or the other is going to feel super different, but magic replenishes much slower on normal, I will say that.
She's alive.
So here we've got 2 more barricades to take down. We want to use the bomb in the bottom corner because we can throw it at this barricade, and while we do that, this bomb will spawn, allowing us to immediately pick it up and throw, because there is a kind of a weird hidden timer of when those bombs will spawn. And there have been times where, like, I've literally had to sit around for like 10 seconds because for some reason the game's like, no, we are not going to spawn the bombs. You will need to wait. Coming up here, we've got our boss battle against Geppetto, a giant robot face. And we're going to try to go for the quick phase 1. So we're going to throw a fully charged Dark Lance at the fist, and then we're going to use a strength drop, and then we're going to try to jump off the ledge here. So we're going to dash, jump, and then do a full melee combo. Throw a dark sphere and then do a heavy attack, and boom, that's phase 1 in the bag. So normally that phase is a lot longer because you have to take the hands down, and the hands, like, they stay off the map, and it's very tedious if you don't get the fast cycle. And then so here we've got phase 2 against a bunch of little robots here. Thankfully we use a magic drop because magic drop will instantly kill these enemies with Dark Blast. So we do that as we collect all the items. Oh, we got a yellow drop. I'm gonna make sure we pick that up. And then from here, ooh, we got titanium. That's good. And so we do that, and we're gonna hope RNG is on our side. Yes, it was. I say that because what can happen there is sometimes when you release a charged Dark Blast, what will happen there is sometimes the RNG, you'll literally just, everything will just fly at like one person, and it kind of sucks. So now we're gonna try to get the 1 cycle. So this one's very tricky to pull off. Sadly, looks like we're not getting it. Just missed by ½ inch, so we'll get a 2 cycle instead.
It's working.
So the way the 1 cycle works is you throw a bomb into Geppetto's mouth, but it lands inside Geppetto's mouth just small enough that what will happen there is you will actually damage it without making him close his mouth, or making it close its mouth. And then you throw another bomb, it closes its mouth, and you throw the last bomb after the mouth is reopened, and then boom, you're down in like 1 cycle. But we'll settle for a 2 cycle, which is just as fine.
I feel like I fought this boss in Wind Waker.
You may have fought that boss in Wind Waker, that is correct.
So
Possibly.
the tiny robots, are those the Pinocchios?
I mean, if they are not called that, if they are supposed to be, but I would understand why one would think that. Sadly, as far as I know,
Calling the giant robot head Geppetto is not as on brand as it would have been of calling it Pinocchio, but that's just me.
I agree. No, I agree. Honestly, I believe that a lot of the lore of this game is handled through novels outside of the realm of this game, and I have not read them. I think most of them have actually never been published in English, so you'd have to find like fan translations or read Japanese, and I could be completely wrong on that. So apologies there.
Okay, I'm completely wrong on a lot of things.
So unfortunately, we did find the mother. Sadly, the mom did not make it. We found her body, and so we unfortunately had to break the news to the brothers. And as one would expect, being told that your mother is no longer alive, didn't take it quite well, sadly, and so the pretty upset about it, which is totally understandable. And so now we're done at the junk heap, and we're gonna continue on with our quest to find these sealed verses. And so now we need to head back to the Ari, because we've been informed that the Ari is under attack by shades.
Let's visit the Airy. They've got shades there.
Or we already knew they had shades there, but we're going to go back there and see if we can find a sealed verse from them this time. Since last time we didn't find anything other than Kaine and a giant shade called Hook.
Of course. I'd be stupid not to. But I have to save Yona, no matter what.
I see. Then I won't try to stop you.
You're a pretty good listener for such an
Oh,
old time.
the kid who sadly lost his mom, is he going to be coming back twice as strong to try and kill you later?
Not exactly. He's not going to try to kill me, but he might be a little unhinged. You'll see what I mean.
Okay, I'll mark that as a maybe on my checklist.
So here we're back in the Ari, and so we're going to help Kaine. What we do here is we need to be mindful of these enemies. These shields actually will reflect magic back at you. So we want to be a little careful about how much magic we use, because we basically get counterattacked. So we try not to do too much with it. But you do want to knock them down because it makes their shield go away. So it's kind of like a catch-22. You want to hit them with the magic anyway, but you don't want to do too much magic because then it's a lot more stuff to dodge. Those enemies you don't need to defeat. You have to kill the ones that Kaine's fighting to be able to continue on, because she's going to stay there and fight them for story purposes. But we defeat them, and then we move on. Here we have our revenge against Hook. So round 2 against Hook, who's still terrorizing this village. So we use mostly magic here to do the most damage, as well as a mix of melee attacks. So the game has iframes with dodging. So what you saw me do there is I actually dodged when I knew he was about to attack, because if I dodge at the right time, I can actually nullify all possible damage with the dodge move. It doesn't necessarily do it for everything, but it does it for enough things that do the run enough times, you kind of know which enemies to anticipate it on. We use a lot of magic drops on this battle to get through the battle with Hook as fast as possible. So this wave is a little dangerous because of the little guys. We basically just need to get to where the giant thing gets slammed down. Once we can target it, that helps us move the phase. So from there, we're now moving on to phase 2.5. Hook keeps running away from us, so we have to keep chasing him around the Ari. So here we have to deal with the orbs. These are not actually sure what relevance these play to why we have to take them out, but they're like little enemies that Hook can make appear from his mouth. He basically drops them out, and so we have to defeat all of them to be able to finish that phase. And then from there, we just continue to chase him. We don't need to defeat any of these shades, which is why I'm skipping them. Alright, cool. We got the ideal. So here, this phase can be rough because we don't want him to start spamming a slam attack, because it's a lot harder to get through this phase faster from the slam attack. So we hope for the kind of orb spewing move that he did initially there, and then from there we just move as fast as we can. Here, this phase is interesting because he does this like kind of like electrical move. We can't defeat him when he's face forward like this, but what we do first is we fight him a little bit, hop off the ledge to reset his positioning, make him go into this kind of like orb dropping move or kind of ball spewing move he does here. And then from there, we fight him, preventing the next phase, and then take him down for the end. And that is the end of Hook, basically, right there.
Hi, Hook.
And so Kaine gets her revenge because Hook had something to do with the death of her grandmother. So she's got her revenge on him. So now we need to go save her because she is a bit injured and kind of in her own mind there. We do a guard lift to skip going down a ladder and then going up another ladder because obviously it's slower. We got the guard lift, so that was good there. Getting the guard lifts that count. I'll take it. So we go talk to Kaine. We pull her back from the brink of death because basically she's kind of completed she got her revenge. She kind of has no other purpose in life now, so she was kind of happy to just move on. But we're like, no, we don't want you to leave yet. Reasons that I don't remember, but other than plot. And so we pulled her back. Now she's going to join us on our quest to find these verses and help save our sister. So,
would you say that would check off the power of friendship on the anime list?
Kind of, but it's a stretch because Kaine doesn't really look at us as a friend. She's kind of like, whatever, leave me alone. I'm just here to kill Shade.
I hate you the least.
Kind of like if you were to take... Should be able to make this anime reference. I watch enough anime. It's that one person in it would be like, okay, if you're familiar with Fairy Tail, it'd be like Loxus's relationship with Natsu. Would be the best way I can put it.
You can't see me, but I'm just nodding my head because I haven't actually watched Fairy Tail.
That's fine. I've only seen the first 175 episodes, so I haven't even finished it.
Lord.
All right. So now we are going to the next place that we believe there to be a sealed verse at. It's a place called the Facade. So we're going to head to the desert area. This is also going to be where you all get to witness one of our first major skips that we perform. The Fira skip. And it's, if you're familiar with the run, or if you're a runner of this game, you know, hearing that name makes you shudder.
I mean, the name is Fira.
That's true. That's fair. All right, not great on the drops there, but honestly, we got a. I didn't mention this earlier, but during Geppetto, we got 2 titanium alloy drops, which is actually not too bad. Yellow drops are not as common, so there's 2 types of drops. There's green drops and there's yellow drops. Yellow drops are rare drops, and those are sometimes, you know, those are the ones you want. Now, there are some rare drops you can get that don't sell for much, so it feels kind of like a moot point, but something like the titanium alloys, those are yellow drops you do want to get. And then later on, when we go back to the junk heap, post time skip, we are going to want yellow drops for sure there. But here we go through the desert, avoiding all these wolves. We see a wolf in the distance, which also looks like part shade, so it's like a shade wolf. And it's kind of like, well, what are they about? And so they kind of just leave. We're like, whatever. And so we just keep heading back to Facade, the desert town of rules. The people of the Facade basically live their entire life off rules. And they have like rules for like everything. They have so many rules for like just about anything they do. It's kind of bonkers.
Do they have rules about petting the dogs?
They probably do. I don't know if they don't think they show that in the game, but I wouldn't be shocked if they have a rule about petting dogs.
Can you pet the wolves you just ran past?
I mean, you can, but they might bite you.
Fair.
It's kind of like a pet at your own risk.
Those are some good-looking dogs, though. They look very soft.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah. It's okay. Go back and pet the dogs.
Yeah, see, like, you know, totally worth it.
Covered in sand.
So here we actually use the death warp to warp to the center, and then we kind of fall in the sand again because my finger slipped.
Man, I hate being covered in sand.
I just wanted to show that again for the viewers, so y'all can catch that sweet tech movement. Yeah, that's the case in point about why falling in water can be both a positive and a negative, depending on when you fall in the water or the sand, because the game has predetermined spawn points. So by finger slipping there, we pretty much had to redo the sequence a second time. So we check around the village, not a whole lot going on. We can't really understand the language. Nobody will really talk to us. And so we decided just to leave. And on our way out, we run into a girl who can't talk, but her name, from what we understand, her name is Fira. Because we're told somehow she tells us her name is Fira. Like Weiss is able to like understand it, to my understanding. And so she's gonna give us a tour around town. And so we kind of just follow her along, so she can kind of tell us about the village. Yes, best character in some regards. I have mixed feelings because of the skip, but you know, as a person, she's wonderful. But yeah, so we're doing Fira's tour, and so from here we're just running around. She's explaining the town of Assad to us. I'm trying to position myself in a way that when she stops, I can just directly talk to her, because like many RPGs and possibly even some action games, characters have to face you to actually begin dialogue in most cases. And so if they're not looking at you, then they have to turn around. And so by standing in front of her, but not too much in front of her, because you can't block her path. If you block her path, she will basically stop moving in the game and be like, you're impeding her progress. You're impeding her progress. That third time we skip the rest of her tour, so we don't waste time visiting every part of town. It's actually a pretty big time loss if you accidentally do the tour. Middle-y, I was mashing in the middle of that, so I was worried that I accidentally didn't skip the tour and that we were about to go on a long tour there, but we would just been seeing the sights. But with that, the tour is done, and now we are pretty much sort of done in Facade. We are now going to go look for the king who has gone missing. The king has basically gone into a temple. He's basically gone missing. We believe he's at this temple, and so Fear is going to show us the way to the temple. But you know, this is a speed run, and thanks to wonderful members of the community, they have found that there's actually a way to completely skip the escort mission that would normally happen here. So normally what would happen here is you would follow Fear around town, or not follow her around town. You would follow her through the desert, and it's a very slow. It's like a 8-minute process, because it like you can't get too far away from her, and she's not exactly the fastest moving character. And so what we do there is we quickly get away from her, because the game will tether you to her if you just stand around too long. So we immediately dodge away from her, and then we're gonna head over here, and I'm gonna perform the skip. I am probably gonna go quiet during it. It's kind of hard to do, in my opinion, while talking. So I will hopefully see y'all on the other side, and I'll explain it afterwards.
Good luck.
Sometimes I pause to catch my breath because it's very stressful of a skip, in my opinion.
I'm not even doing it and I'm stressed out for you.
I messed up. I shouldn't have talked. Crap.
No.
Nah, it's fine. My own fault. So yeah, we lost the height. So as a result, I basically fat fingered the input. And so as a result, we lost the height.
Okay, you concentrate on being awesome, and I'll read this thing. Once again, we are here to raise money for Emre's family who lost their home to a fire in early January. The money raised will go to support demolition costs. They are all tremendously grateful for all of the support, so thank you everybody who's donated so far. And now we're going to get back to Wody being awesome.
Oh my god. We got it. We were like down to the wire because Fear was getting too close. And if she gets too close, it retethers you. And I was basically like a very small like window into like being forced to do the escort right there.
That was stressful.
Yes, it is. It is.
I did not like that. I am so sorry you have to do that.
That's fine. It's the notorious nature of this run at times. But we got Fear Skip. Basically, we skipped this entire escort section, and so we are heading to the Baron Temple now. Admittedly, I may have gotten a little lost here, but I think okay, we found where we're at. Right,
You're not lost. You're on an adventure.
Exactly. So yeah, so what we skipped there is we skipped this whole section where we have to walk through a desert storm with Fira and deal with like wolves that attack us along the way. So it saves like 8 minutes. Like it's a huge chunky time save. So now we're in the Baron Temple. What that was called is that's called the infinite height glitch. So by jumping in the air and performing a heavy attack, I pause the menu and I switch my weapon, which resets my heavy attack animation. And we use that to elevate the character over and over to gain height to go over invisible walls. You'll see that several times throughout the run. We're actually going to kind of do it again here.
We have to play by the rules.
To get on this box, because this room we're not allowed to jump, but it doesn't say we can't manipulate the in-game system to gain height. So what we're doing is we're going to hop on this box because it's going to allow us to fire our weapon at a crate. So each of these rooms has rules that we have to follow, and so so we landed, and now we shoot the box and done. So no need to go the long way through a puzzle that we can't jump in. And so that's the skip in that room. But yeah, I have a few moments to talk about the skip. So yeah, infinite height skip, or infinite height glitch. Like I said, we jump in the air, we perform a heavy attack, we pause the game at the height of our jump, we switch weapons, which resets your attack animation, do another heavy attack, and then we repeat that over and over to gain the necessary height. We've done it twice. We'll do it at least 3 more times, if I remember correctly. 3 or 4 more times throughout the run. It's definitely a lot easier as an adult, so the next time we do it, we'll be as an adult, so it should go a lot smoother, where you gain a lot more height and have to do it a lot less times. But instead, we've got to visit each of these rooms to get through the temple and follow the rules in each room. So first room, we couldn't jump. This one we can't jump either, but we also can't stand still for too long. The game doesn't tell you can't do it. You have to just see the text. It said like leaping rabbit, stationary owl, so it kind of alludes to the gestures that you can perform. And obviously, like when you play it the first time, you can easily learn through trial and error what you're not allowed to do. So the second room, we couldn't jump and we couldn't stand still, and so as a result, we just quickly keep moving, and then we fire at the box, because the goal is to hit these shiny red boxes in each of these rooms, essentially. And in this next room, we can only move in the air. So this room, we cannot walk. We have to basically jump to move everywhere. So we kind of do like a jump forward, then a double jump. But as long as we're in the air when we move, we're okay. And that's pretty much it. So some rooms are obviously going to be more straightforward than others, which is fine. And some are more difficult than others, but you get used to it as you do the run. This next room is the same as room 2, but there's boxes in the way, so there's a little bit of a curved angle to it. But yeah, this is basically the Baron Temple for the most part. How are we doing over there, Cupcakes?
I'm sorry, you get used to doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I've done like 20 or so runs of this game on both easy and normal. So I mean, I've done plenty of runs.
Wow.
But due to the button mashing nature of it, it is definitely a run that I do have to take breaks on, or I will destroy my hand. Because sadly, I wasn't gifted with button mashing capabilities as many members of speedrunning communities sometimes can be. So it does take a toll on my hand.
The button mashers are harsh.
Yeah. So we've got a few members in our community who are pretty insane button mashers, and I look at their button mash and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm glad you run on PC."
There are just no words. I have none.
In this room here, we've got this is sarcasm. My favorite room. So we have to basically break all these boxes using my Dark Blast ability, but I can't take too many hits or it will reset the room. So I have to be careful about the amount of damage that I take and hits from enemies. So I just need to be mindful of it and try and get through some of these battles as quickly as possible. I can't use my sword or it would make things a lot easier, which is unfortunate. I would love to be able to use my sword to simplify some of these, but we make do with what we got, right? So just gotta be careful. If we take too long, some of the enemies tend to be a little more aggressive as they realize I'm there. So I just need to be mindful. Like right there, I almost took some damage. Okay, so nope, not good, not good. We took a few hits. So sometimes I will go through this room a little bit slower than you need to, just because of consistency reasons, and you know we're in a marathon, so we want to be a little safe about it. And there we go, first try by going a little bit on the slower side.
Nice.
Yeah, because I've definitely done that room where I've had to redo the room like 6 times because of how like just unfortunate the bullet RNG from the enemies will be towards me sometimes.
I feel like I should be making some orb jokes, but there's just too many orbs.
Yeah, the game's kind of like a bullet hell in a way, you could say. Yeah, it's a very bullet hell heavy type of game at times. Yeah, there we got hit by a bat, which almost knocked us into the sand, which would have been very unfortunate. So we lucked out there. This room we cannot dodge in. So I have been known to sadly forget that sometimes and accidentally dodge roll when I need to not, or it resets the room. So I have to be very careful not to dodge. We just kind of run around and melee attack the enemies as best as possible. If they hit me, that's fine. I can jump. I can do things like that. I just cannot dodge. I can block too. That's another option. But not too bad. Then we got the big baddie here, who goes down pretty easily for the most part. Do want to be mindful of our HP, but we got out of the room pretty smooth there. And I want to pick up that yellow orb so we can sell it for money later. And it's time to go fight the boss. Now, this boss, unless I don't know this fairy tale, this boss is named Shariar. Shariari. I'm not familiar with a fairy tale of somebody named that, so this might be the one enemy that's not based on a fairy tale. It's basically a bunch of boxes. Boss battle is against a bunch of boxes. We're gonna heal to be safe. Cube boy, exactly. Better.
When did we go to Crash Bandicoot? I didn't realize we were going to be playing that today.
Pretty much, yeah. This is basically Crash's worst nightmare. It's just a bunch of boxes. So the first couple waves are against the rings here. So the goal is we basically have to take out these shiny red boxes. Some of the phases you can take out multiple boxes at once if you position your spear properly. But some of the phases you can only do like one at a time. So that's what we're doing here. So I have to be careful. Again, red orbs attack me when I break the boxes. And from here, so not great positioning. So we've got a longer phase partially while we wait for the red boxes to come back. And you can also attack the orbs to replenish your magic, which just helps with getting through this phase, because a lot of times you spend it without any magic and waiting for it to replenish. So it just helps not have to wait for it. That's phase 1. So another partially scripted battle, like a lot of these battles are. So phase 2, can't really do a whole lot until the cutscene. So we just kind of wait right here. The safest spot. Use that moment to take a sip of my soda. So we can't harm the boss when it's got blue boxes. We can only hurt it when it has red boxes. And now Kaine is going to join us. Kind of join us. And now we go into the next phase. So this phase should just be a 2-cycle. Basically, we jump, throw the sphere, should break all 4 boxes. Should be pretty easy. Sometimes the angle of the sphere doesn't catch the box, so it's fine. You react quick enough, you're usually pretty good. And then now we go into the final phase. So had to wait until the dialogue came up because the boss wouldn't have taken damage beforehand. So another kind of like 4 phase, take out the cubes. Sometimes you get lucky with Kaine and her attacking RNG, and she will actually break some of the red boxes, which is super handy if she does pull that off, but it's not super guaranteed to always happen. And sometimes that happens where my orbs just don't catch. But that's the end of Shariar right there.
Bye, Shariar.
And we've gotten our next verse. Or we'll be getting our next verse. We actually get it from the king here in a little bit from this cutscene.
Is this one of those unskippable cutscenes?
No, there's only actually one unskippable cutscene in the entire game.
Well, while you're button mashing, I do want to remind people that we do have some bid wars coming up. The protagonist name for Star Ocean First Departure R, and for Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected, you can choose Shulk's outfit. So get your donations and bids in for that.
I'm worried about Yona. Let's go back.
Yes, get those bids in. All right, so we've spent too much time away from Yona at this point, so we are now going to go back and check on her. We dealt with the Ari, we dealt with the junk heap, we dealt with Facade. So it's been a minute since we've gone and checked on our sister, who's been home sick in bed this whole time. As we try to find these sealed verses in hopes of it helping cure her.
I suppose rules are rules, even if they are absurd.
Got a thing on my anime list that I'm waiting to ask about because I want to see if it comes true without saying anything.
Those rules are important to the masked people.
Well, you are welcome to keep waiting, or you can ask. As we're just going to be traveling, so there's not a ton will be happening for right now. This is
Beginning to sound
just more movement tech for a little while here.
I'm not a kid, you know.
Hey, less talking.
But we haven't checked off completely the power of friendship yet, but I'm assuming that this is anime, so that'll happen.
I mean, I would say, I mean, you could check that off. Power of friendship's definitely a thing in this.
Okay. Relative becomes magic thingy.
It feels kind of vague.
Well, you ever play one of the, I think it's Breath of Fire 4?
Yeah.
Somebody just suddenly becomes a robot. I haven't played that game in forever.
Fair enough. So, like, is the magic thingy, like a thing of good or a thing of bad? I guess, what's the magic thingy in context of the bingo card?
Bingo card is literally just me writing down things on a piece of paper, so it could be anything your heart desires.
I mean, Emil, who we'll be meeting soon, kind of fits into that. I mean, it's not my relative, but like, you know, they kind of become a magic weapon. Not for a little while here, but they will. All right, so we're gonna stay the night, get some rest, but instead we're gonna be entered into a dream. In this case, the dream is a text novel or a visual novel.
I did have dream sequence on here.
Yeah, so dream sequence is the thing. We're gonna be doing more of that. That's true. Emil is someone's relative. We'll get into that when that happens. That's gonna be fun to explain. So we go to sleep. We have a dream sequence. The dream sequence tells us to go to the Forest of Myth. We're like, what the heck is that? And so we're gonna go talk to Popola about it, and then from there we're gonna go to the Forest of Myth, kind of see what that's all about.
All right, checking off Magic Forest. Do we have dancing mushrooms?
We do not.
Oh, okay.
Sadly, this game predominantly lives in the realm of bleak and despair than happy and go lucky.
I mean, dancing mushrooms can be bleak.
That's fair. I don't know. I just
If they're poisonous ones.
that's. I mean that's fair. All right, so we're going to now head to the Forest of Myth, where basically people are trapped in their dreams. And so we're gonna go try and help them get, well, out of their dreams and into our car.
Why?
I had to, it was too easy. Alright, so the Forest of Myth is actually north of the Airy. This is also one of the, like, arguably shorter sections of the game, especially in the run, because we don't read the dialogue, but If you do like reading and you do enjoy visual novels and very well written stories, well, then these are pretty awesome. And then there's actually additional ones that are not. So for the story purpose, we only need to talk to the village chief and do the one for him. But there are more ones you can do with the other people in the village. So like I said, they're very well written, and so they're super worth checking out. Like if you play the game casually. But the choices of answers are all the same. It's basically going to be top, bottom, top for this first set. So we just mash through everything. Hope everybody can read really fast.
Quick question about the boar you were riding.
Yes.
Do you get a butterfly every time you run into a sheep?
I guess I've never noticed that. Butterfly?
Spyro.
Oh, nah, see, this is where I have to say I've never played Spyro.
It's okay. It's an older game. Not everybody has played it. But now you can go experience it for the first time.
Well, my girlfriend does own the collection, so I could play it. And I'm 34. I grew up in that era. I was a Crash kid.
I was also a Crash kid and also a Sonic kid, so I understand completely.
Well, I was Sonic and Mario growing up, so I didn't really have like one or the other, but I did stick to Crash Bandicoot more than Spyro.
As did I, but my partner's a big Spyro person, so I have mostly played it because of her.
Nice. I mean, I do want to play Spyro. I just never got around to it because backlogs are real.
They are very real.
So we finished in the Forest of Myth, got ourselves another sealed verse, so we've only got one more sealed verse to get. Totally, Spyro is definitely a Drakengard game. It's got a dragon. Aren't all dragon games Drakengard games?
Yes.
My library guard lifts have not been kind to me today, but that's fine. We will push through. Alright, so we go check in with Popola, tell her about what we found at the Forest of Myth. And so now it is time for us to actually go back to Seafront and check on some stuff there. Because the canal has been finished, or the canal, we need a ferryman. So we need to go figure out what's going on with the ferryman. On our way there, we're going to stop and turn in this first quest that we accepted a while ago, and get the money from there. Now, I could have started the next quest that woman gives. Admittedly, I just forgot to, but it's fine. We'll just turn it in later. Because you don't actually have to have the quest. Like, you could buy the items preemptively, and then just have them to turn in. So you just talk to the person twice in a row. But yeah, we're gonna go back to Seafront, which was a new addition to the remake. In the original Nier Gestalt game for Xbox and PlayStation 3 in 2010, you only went to Seafront the one time, and that was it. They expanded on the Seafront section to include a new kind of like plot line, and so as a result, we are going back there for our second time at this point. So we're gonna help the ferryman find his missing wife, because he doesn't know where she is. He's also the guy who's going to be the one catering to our ferry, but he needs help finding his wife first. Before that, we need to buy 3 bounty fertilizer, because we're going to turn those in for a quest here in a little bit. And so we're going to ask around town, see if they've seen where she is, and look for her there. I should actually play Drakengard 1. It's funny, as a member of this community, I've played Automata, Replicant, and Drakengard 3, but not 1 and 2. And I at least own 1. I don't own 2.
I just hope she hasn't been attacked by shades or anything.
So it sounds like she's not in town, so we're gonna leave town and see if we can find her. I mean, the community is telling me to keep it that way. But how would Mash feel if I don't play 1 or 2? I think Mash would want me to play 2, I guess.
Something about that shade seems rather odd.
So we defeat the shade because they seemed odd, and so as a result, we get a red bag, and we're like, oh no, this isn't good. This might be the wife. So we are now going to unfortunately go give the bad news that we think the wife was turned into a shade, and she is no more.
People need to stop going off on their own.
No, right?
Like the first rule of D&D, don't split up the party.
All right, now time for a lot of button mashing. This is a very dialogue-heavy part. Order of talking ultimately doesn't matter due to how fast you can mash. And look at that, she's not actually dead or a shade. She was, off getting food, I believe. I'm trying to remember what she was actually doing that whole time. So now the two are going to argue. Their arguments are legendary. And as a result, we're kind of stuck in the middle of it. And so we have to sit here and basically mash through everything. The camera's shaking because of the way I'm button mashing, is flicking the joystick.
Well, while we have to sit through the argument, I do want to remind everybody that we are here to raise money for Emre's family, who lost their home to a fire in early January. Money raised during this marathon will go towards demolition costs, and they are all tremendously grateful for all of the support. And how's the argument going?
It's done. So they kind of just stopped. That's just their relationship. They kind of fight a bunch and then just kind of like, they're like, whatever. So now we're gonna go back and give Popola an update about everything.
Red bags were a strange pair indeed. It boggles the mind to think their relationship can persist despite such intense squabbling.
Well, they looked pretty happy in the end, at least. Maybe the secret to living a happy life is sharing your feelings, even when they're sort of mean and weird.
I believe this is where Weiss is gonna say, like, the most painful line that everyone jokes about, like, ever.
If you adopt such a strategy, I may leave for groceries one day and never return.
Daddy Weiss going out for milk and never coming back. We've all been there.
If you cannot swim, why do you keep leaping into bodies?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that no, not all of us. I have not been there.
It's not me.
That's fair.
It's almost like
I apologize. That was
just
not good on my end. Bad joke.
What do you think I've been telling all night?
Quality jokes, thought out ones.
I appreciate that you think they're thought out, and not just things that randomly spurt through my head when there's silence.
Alright, so we go and give Popola an update, kind of what happened with the ferryman and everything. So we're good there, and so now we're going to go check on Yona once again. Noticing a trend here yet for people who've been watching kind of what we've been doing in this first half, pre-time skip. Game's been out for almost a year, and it was a remake of a 2010 game, so it's not a spoiler to be like, oh, there's a time skip. Alright, so we're in the house. Once again, we're gonna pick up specific items because they give us money. If you're wondering why I'm ignoring some of the pickups, well, it's because those are not as good to pick up. So there's no need to pick them up. So here we learn about Yona has a pen pal that she's been talking to this entire time. And so we're gonna go, she's basically stopped getting letters from this pen pal. And so we're gonna go kind of see what this is all about. See who's been talking to her sister.
That staircase makes no sense.
Which staircase? Like
the one you just went up and down.
Yeah, staircases in this game don't make a ton of sense. I will tell you that. They're treated in like a 2D platform, so they're very bizarre in how they're handled.
I'm just going to assume that everybody has a spiral staircase or something.
Exactly. Alright, so here is where we're going to do another shop to buy one of our strongest magic swords. We're going to sell all the stuff. Pretty decent on money, so we should be perfectly fine to afford the Beast Bane and still have 11,000. We basically have enough money to buy the final weapon, so that should be nice. So we've got the Beast Bane. Yeah, exactly. If you want to avoid spoilers, you probably shouldn't watch a speedrun. Oh yeah, see that thing. Rod is 100% accurate. There's so much to this game that like I could barely spoil any of it without like spending hours upon hours trying to elaborate on it.
In this area in the first place. It is hardly what one would call
I'm gonna drop a big spoiler. Something gets killed.
Oh no! Oh my god!
Yeah, what have I done? Oh no, I feel so bad.
Yotaro. All right, so here we've entered Resident Evil 9. You think I'm joking? You can tell this is a nice. This looks like the mansion in Resident Evil 1. So in this part, I can't dash. I can jump. I can't dodge roll. It's just a lot of walking. So what you'll see is I'm actually doing melee attacks to help push me forward, because it's a lot faster than like just standing or just walking, because I can't dodge roll. So I can't do my light movement, kind of heavy attack, light attack progression stuff. So instead we do a couple attacks, do a charged move to get a lot more ground, and go from there. And so we go back. We're just basically taking the specific story path to move forward. We want to be mindful of when we hold a direction. The way the game treats directional inputs, even though I know which direction I should be holding, if I hold it too early, I'll actually run into a wall. So I have to wait till I hear the door creak sound, and then I can do it. So we just continue through the mansion. We try to not only find Jonas' pen pal, but also figure out like what the heck happened to Kaine, because Kaine is missing. Everyone's just vanishing, and there's all these like frozen statues of people. And here we want to be mindful. If we break that box, we'll get a tutorial about breaking boxes. So don't want to lose the frames and time from that.
Where did all the color go?
Well, that is an after effect of our buddy here we're going to meet in a moment. So, our friend here, so the owner of the mansion, or the head, I don't even call it, like the lord of the mansion, I guess, is a boy by the name of Emil, who becomes our next buddy. He can turn things to stone that he looks at, which is why his eyes are covered up, as you can kind of make out. It's easier to tell, obviously, if you watch the cutscene. But yeah, basically, if he looks at things, he turns them to stone. I guess he can turn like objects to stone as well, which is why the house has no coloring as a result. Yeah, it's not a flashback, believe it or not. It is current events of what is happening. So we get the table, and then we're going to equip our Beastbane, because this is our best magical weapon as a child. It's going to allow us to do the most damage. And then from here we find the butler, and the butler reveals to us that he was actually the one who was writing letters. He's a robot, mind you, which is why he hasn't been turned to stone. But he was the one writing letters to Yona, actually, not Emil, because Emil was totally confused. He's like, what? But I guess he was hoping to help Emil, so he befriended somebody in hopes that I guess they would come and save him, come help him figure out like what he can do about his eyes. Because as you can see, doesn't really have anybody here because his eyes have turned everybody to stone. Yes, robots are immune to stone.
Nobody thought to just get the kid a cool pair of sunglasses?
I guess they don't have sunglasses in this game, in this world. I mean, I've never seen anyone wearing them, so I would assume they don't exist. Here we do a despawn technique. If we leave the room and come back, it despawns all these enemies, so we don't have to worry about fighting them. Because since we can't roll through them, and enemies will block your path, they do kind of get in your way a lot, and so we do try to push through them as much as possible. Thankfully, Emil can turn them to stone, which instantly kills them. So we're just trying to push through. Man, these ones have really gotten my way today. All right, and now we've made it to the library, where we're going to awaken a book by the name of Grimoire Rubrum, and we need to, well, take him out.
Oh, aren't we clever? As if any mere tome could compare to the wonderment that is Grimoire.
So we're trying to basically trying to help Emil find something, and so this book kind of awakened as part of it, and so we are going to take the book out so we can get what we need. So we just got to be mindful of our health. Does a pretty fair amount of damage from those pages. That was phase 1. Can't hurt him in this phase. We just wait. Because basically Emil's like, I can't petrify it.
This is just a crime against libraries.
In a way.
Lost. Where have you been?
Getting stomped by this thing. Help!
This foe's strength is beyond measure.
What do we do?
I am an arcane text, not some manual of combat.
So here we just need to be mindful. He charges after a little bit, so we can't harm him until we take the shield down, but we want to face our back to a wall because it's going to give us the best opportunity to keep him from going too far away from us. So one more broken shield should be enough to end the battle.
Aye, aren't we the bold one? And yet I fear that would be a foolish course of action
There we go.
at this juncture.
Cool. And that is Grimoire Rubrum. And our final sealed verse will be upon us. So now it's time to go save, time to go find a way to save Yona. We've got all the sealed verses. It's time to put all this pain to rest.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yes, we do.
All right, thank you. We have $34 from Softnum. No comment, but thank you very much for that
I
donation.
saw you exchange some words with that Emil.
Thank you, thank you.
Hopefully it was nothing inappropriate for a young man.
We're going to use our animal call to call a boar, because it's much faster than going on foot.
Speak the truth, hussy.
Hook? Shut up.
Yeah, calm down, Vice.
Except when you do that, but that's fine.
All the sealed
Only
verses
because
in
controlling the boar is
Names is to find
very
Grimoire.
bad. Like it's poor.
Then we can finally
Very
see-
weirdly implemented. But then again, I mean, if you were going really fast, that would be hard to turn your body to, I imagine. I can't fault it too much. But go and check on Yona. Her condition is worsening, unfortunately, and so we are going to go talk to Popola about what to do next now that we have all the sealed verses.
Yona's looking weaker and weaker every day.
Yes, but do not lose heart. You are the girl's last remaining hope.
Alright. Tells us to go get some vapor moss, which is on the edge of town. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Take a moment to enjoy this beautiful music. Wonderful soundtrack by Keiichi Okabe. Alright, we got our vapor moss. And then what's this? Emil has come to find us for some reason. He's looking worse for wear.
Emil, no.
So he faints. We don't really know what's going on, so we pick him up. And then we're going to, see if we can figure out what's going on. But he's kind of passed out right now. He tells us we need to get out of the village. And it's like, why would you get out of the village? There's all this rumbling noise going on. Well, apparently the Shades have decided to attack. For a reason we don't quite know yet. So the Shades are invading the village, so we need to put a stop to it. Or innocent people are killed.
The Shades are attacking.
Then what we're going to do to try and skip some dialogue is we're going to jump over the bridge here. And that will skip a forced dialogue line.
Dispatch these smaller ones as fast as you can.
I'll kill every last one of you.
You whelps are hardly worthy of our steel.
So we've got to weaken a bunch of these enemies before it forces the level to continue.
They disgust me.
There we go.
Dear God, what is that?
I'm going to use a strength drop.
No, we gotta take it down.
And that's phase one. So here is Jack of Hearts.
Hi, Jack.
So Jack is kind of a pain.
How will we even know if our attacks are working?
We'll just have to keep hitting it until we find out. We can climb up from here.
What I believe to be his face reminds me of the mascot of the band Disturbed.
Perhaps its interior is more vulnerable.
Not bad. Alright. Apparently. Alright. So the game forces us to the dialogue we skipped earlier. We have to be mindful of that. I've accidentally fallen in the water, trying to avoid that, and then getting hit by that. But we just continue to wail on Jack. So just gotta be mindful of his ground stomping. It does a lot of damage if we let him smash the ground and get hit by it. Now for this next phase of Jack, it is another one of those like scripted progressions of time type of battles. So we can't actually win the battle until he passes a certain point. So we're just going to basically get him down to like one hit, pretty much right here, and then we're just going to go wait at the top of the hill. So that's why you don't see me buffing up for this battle. because it's scripted. So the amount of time it takes is just not worth the wasted item that you're going to be using for it. Because the healing items, I didn't really touch on, they only last between 30 seconds to a minute. So if you're fast enough, most of the time, you know, 30 seconds is more than enough in some cases. But this is going to take more than 30 seconds, and there's no need to waste one of your buff items. Because now we basically have to wait for Jack to come join us at the top of the hill for the battle to actually end. Get a little moment of little break here, little small break here.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to plug some bid incentives. Once again, we do have the protagonist name for Star Ocean First Departure R. It doesn't appear that we have any options for that yet, so if you want to go in and snipe that, please do. We have Shulk's Outfit Bid War for Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected. And later on, we'll have the Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon Partner Bid War. Right now, we have Chespin in the lead, and then another option is Tepig. And then there are also bid wars for the partner's name, the starter's name, the team name. And funnily enough, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy Crash 2, you can choose to play as Coco or Crash. So let's try and get those met, shall we?
Yes, Jack is going to fall down and break his crown. So we've defeated Jack, but unfortunately there was a scream heard from the library. Looks like bad things are happening in the library. So shades have made it through here, and so now we're trying to deal with them. Yona's in here, as well as other people of the village. And this is another scripted battle. We have to basically wait for dialogue between Kaine and Emil to pass before it will end. So no matter how fast we really win this battle, it doesn't matter until they finish their conversation.
Just don't die on me. I won't, Kaine. Let's take care of these shit-offs.
I like it.
That's the cue. Once they say that word that was just said, that's pretty much it.
We can't let any more shades in here.
But it looks like Jack's not dead. Apparently Jack is somewhat immortal. He just doesn't want to leave. So he is now basically just a disembodied tentacle head now. So if you've had tentacle monster on your anime bingo card, this would pass for that.
You know what? I should have, but I didn't this time.
That should be the free square.
Yeah, we'll just put that in as the free square.
So we just wail on Jack. We don't really need to buff for this. With the limited amount of buffs we have, it's not really worth using on this battle. He goes down pretty quick thanks to the magic power boost from the weapon we're using, because it's like a 40% magic increase. All right. And it looks like Grimoire Weiss's other half, Grimoire Noir, has appeared. And we lost all of our powers. So now we've got to deal with that. And so first we have to fight a couple waves of shades before we can get to the book. And I don't have any magic powers, so that's why I use a strength buff here to help me get through these enemies, because I can't spam Dark Blast to finish them like I normally would. So the goal is to just try and get through these wave of enemies as quickly as possible. So it takes a few waves. I think this was the final one. Yeah. Then we're going to use another strength buff just to make sure we can get through this battle as quickly as possible, because Grimoire Noir goes down very fast with melee attacks. So if you use a strength buff, as you can see, I'm chunking down his HP. And as we get through each of these damage gates, we're recovering one of our spells. Now, he's kind of immune to magic, which is why you don't really see me spamming it. I only really use it to help take out those side books that are there. Just a couple more phases, and we'll finish him off.
We have reclaimed my powers. Good heavens, the roof is about to collapse.
Good old RNG of falling debris.
Here it comes. Stay back.
Can't run now.
So it should only take, yep, 2 breaks to get through that. And here, unfortunately, a lot of bad things start happening. Yona has been taken away by the Shadow Lord, the big baddie of the game. Jack is stuck behind the door, which has no lock, so Kaine is barricading it with her body. And we've decided to have Emil petrify Kaine to keep Jack stuck inside the basement there. So just a lot of unfortunate events have now happened, sadly.
Yeah, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, so now we're going to jump ahead to 5 years. So we're a little bit older now, a little bit more skilled. We have the ability to use other types of weapons. We now have access to a large sword and a lance. And this is where things get interesting. At least in terms of the combat stuff. Because the movement tech and everything is a lot more fun as an adult, I would say. Just because there's more to it, so it's just a lot more impressive looking. Here, because these are armored enemies, what we do is we use the lance to knock them down and do a finisher, because that is going to basically one-shot them with any weapon I would use, so it just speeds it up, because the shielded enemies, they're pretty brutal at times. In terms of like fighting them, because they just deflect most of your hits, unless you do like heavy attacks. So we lance him down and then go for the finisher.
It's been 5 years since they took.
So cue the monologue to explain what's been going on since Yona's been gone.
We lost a good deal of time with that.
And so now after 5 years, seems like Emil has maybe found something to possibly help us unpetrify Kaine. And so we go see Popola, who gives us this information. Popola tells us to go see Emil because it sounds like Emil has found something. So we're gonna go check on Emil now, see how our little buddy's been doing after 5 years. Good old invisible walls. But yeah, we are just gonna hang out and do some traveling. How are things happening on your end, Cupcakes?
Well, nothing much has changed. Nothing's exploded yet. We've still got those bid wars going. We are still raising money for Emre's family, who lost their home in a fire in early January. Money raised is going to go towards demolition costs, and the family is tremendously grateful for all of the support. And every time you roll through the fields, I just get that rollin', 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 rawhide thing stuck in my head.
Good. I mean, it's a good choice.
It definitely could be worse.
Keep that doggy rolling, rawhide. Rolling, rolling, rolling. No, that boar is rolling. All right. So here we learned that there is apparently a underground laboratory, apparently, that may have something that can help cure Emil's eyes. And so we're gonna head to this underground facility and see if it has what we need. And here is where we're gonna also get to experience some more infinite high tech to skip some of the content down here. So this is where we enter the Diablo kind of isometric dungeon style crawling viewpoint. You'll see here in a moment what I'm talking about if you're unfamiliar with it. And so there's going to be ways to kind of bypass some of the rooms, because most of these rooms require a key card. And so there are invisible walls that we can hop over to not need those key cards, but we also have to be mindful of how far away Emil is. Because if we get too far away from him, and you'll see it a few times, the game's going to be like, hey, you're getting too far away from him. What are you doing? It's like Emil's falling behind. And so you kind of want to pause a little bit, let him catch up before you kind of continue again. Because if you do it at the wrong, if you trigger the respawn from see right here, I'm going to force it to happen. So I have those enemies despawn. But then I'll be pushed ahead. But if I do it at the wrong time, what will happen there is, actually, let me do this real quick. Sorry, we've got an infinite height thing, and it's, like I said, hard for me to talk when doing it. Like right there where I messed up. But it's fine. We'll just fix it. So the timing is a little bit tighter with the spear, because the action is much faster. You just have to be mindful of that.
They really need to stop putting escort missions in video games.
I agree. Alright, and we're gonna land. We're not gonna quite move until Emil shows up, or it will spawn us behind the door, and much sadness. So there's our first skip. But yeah, we wanna manipulate the forced respawning to make enemies despawn. So that's just something we have to be mindful of. Which is what I was trying to explain originally. But we got through the first infinite height skip. Messed it up a little bit, but we recovered pretty nicely. If you can react fast enough, you can usually pick up from where you failed from. So that worked out in the end, without having to like start over. Plus, if we had fallen all the way down, we would have broke those boxes, making it a lot more difficult to perform at that point. We probably would have just took the long way at that point. So we got to do it one more time. So we're going to force the enemies to despawn, so we don't have as many people bugging us. But then we're going to take out this group of enemies, so Emil will come sooner.
Okay, just to clarify, this entire giant labyrinth thing is underneath Emil's house?
Yes.
And he didn't know this until now?
Yes.
Okay, then.
So we're going to do the infinite height glitch one more time to kind of go off the map for this first part. So once we're off screen, we should be high enough to get over the invisible wall. This should be high enough. So this one we can force it to happen. So that one we got first try, easy peasy lemon squeezy. And so we're done with the infinite heights for this area. So now we just need to complete the escort. This one can be a little tricky because Emil can get distracted by enemies. And so I try to do these jump attacks to just kind of help defeat them and help move him along more. Because if he gets too far, it's bad. So we don't want to get too far away from him and lose time respawning. So thankfully we prevented it. So we probably want to wait a little bit here for him to get a little bit closer before we continue. And that should be good enough to finish out this area. Let's hold. Yeah, you usually got to be mindful. If he does the Emil's falling behind thing, you just want to be careful how much further away you get from him. And from here, we should be good to get out of here. And that is it for that. Yes, very nice lab, as Dean pointed out. This can be rough. There's huge time losses here if you mess up the guard lifting or the infinite height glitches, or if you push the boundaries too much with like the escorting and like the game forcing you to like go backwards because you got too far away. So you kind of find the fine balance there between like how far away you can get and how far away you should get. And so, like I said, sometimes I attack the enemies because it just helps. So we use the key card. Gonna pause for a little bit here so you can get a little bit closer, reset the distance, and then we'll trigger it. So then that way that happens, so those other enemies despawn. So we can do this next part just fine. So we're going to pull out our weapon here, and now we gotta... Oop, let's not die because of negligence on my end. Actually, we're going to equip a defensive move called the Dark Wall for an upcoming enemy that we're getting ready to fight here. Once we get through this horde of mobs.
All right, well, while you're doing the horde of mobs, everyone, we've been watching this speed run for 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 50 seconds, so I'm going to need everybody to stand up, stretch, make sure that you're hydrating.
Yes.
Carry on.
Hydrate, definitely. Right, we got to be careful here because of the enemy, so we want to charge up Dark Wall, and then we're going to use a Strength Capsule to basically wreck this enemy, and then tank the hits. Because this thing hits hard, so Dark Wall basically nullifies all physical damage, and then that way we can basically do that. And we want to pick up the yellow piece because it's more money, and that's a good good final room there. Good final room. Now we're gonna go see Emil's sister. Before that, we are going to see how our RNG for words has been to us on Magic. So we're going to equip our best words. Looks like apparently we didn't get a single magic power word. All right, been good to us today. That's just the luck of the RNG. It's not like, obviously it makes things a little bit faster if you get good word RNG, but it doesn't doesn't turn into a situation where you like reset the run because of it. So it's fine. I think we've gotten better luck on physical damage. So there's Emil's sister. Yes, that creature thingy on the wall is his sister. And now she has eaten Emil.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, she ate Emil. That's why you don't see him. He was eaten by her.
Okay, then.
So that's phase 1, which is why the health bar stopped. So now we're going to do phase 2. So I can only really use magic to hurt this boss, which is why you don't see me using physical attacks. Oh my god, it's right at the end. I was like one hit away from the end. Fine, okay. Don't worry, y'all. Emil may have been eaten, but he has come out of it in a very familiar look that most of you may know. Yoko Taro helmet. You're familiar with what Yoko Taro wears during his interviews, or if you played Automata and run into Emil, you should be very familiar with this look.
Oh, we're back to the tentacle monster.
Yes, well, because he never died, but Kande's been unpetrified. So now we're going to finally take this thing out. Looks like he decided to hug the wall too much there, so we couldn't get to one of those tentacles. So it's basically a repeat of what we did the first time, so not a whole lot more to go off of here. Just kind of repeating what we did the first time. And that is it for Jack. Officially it for Jack.
Hi, Jack.
By Jack indeed. And now we'll be having our unskippable cutscene. So yeah, coming up here in a moment after this dialogue I'm matching through. I cannot skip what's about to happen. It's not massively long. It's short, but for whatever reason, this is the one cutscene we can't skip. Well, this and another one shortly after it.
The reunion was a happy one, and we let it wash over us like rain.
So now's the time to enjoy that fine voice acting.
Until Devila and Popola had to
Hooray! Now it's also a good time to remind you that we are raising money for Emre's family, who lost their home to a fire in early January. All money raised is going to go towards demolition costs, and the family is tremendously grateful for all the support. We have plenty of bid wars going on for upcoming games such as Star Ocean First Departure R, Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, and Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy Crash 2. So get your donations in, bid on something, have fun.
Yes, have fun. Let's help support a fellow member of our community.
For the first time in my life,
And yes, you do have to watch this in the 2010 Nier Gestalt game. The only difference is that middle section where I was mashing dialogue is a cutscene. It plays out as part of the cutscene in Gestalt. So for whatever reason, in Replicant, I watch a cutscene, mash some dialogue, watch a cutscene. Is the only difference.
Really, how can I blame Devila and Popola? In the end, I'm just as bad.
So is it okay that I have no idea what's going on in this
I
game?
never once stopped to
Yes.
think about Kaine in Emil's
Oh, good.
situation.
Just making sure.
Honestly, the plot line of the Nier games it's a lot. Like a lot of like what's going on in this game also ties back to Drakengard, and so like that like plays into it as well.
This is like watching the original Dune all over again.
All right, there are some wonderful YouTube videos of people explaining the lore.
Are they longer or shorter than this speed run?
Shorter.
I'm having a hard time believing that.
I think one of them I saw was like 3 hours long, which is still shorter than the speed run. But some of them are like maybe like 30 minutes to. It depends on like how much you're going for. If you're going for the entire Drakengard series with Nier, then yes, those are going to be very long because it's 3 Drakengard games and 2 Nier games. But if you're doing like just Nier videos and such, then those are like anywhere from like 20 to 40 minutes, give or take.
Gotcha.
Puts our days of running all over behind us.
The faster we can move, the faster we can save Yona. Let's use it as often as we need.
We're just moving right along.
Yep.
Footloose and fancy free.
Pretty much. So now we're going to take the boat. So we decided to go back to the Lost Shrine from early in the game to check, kind of see if, you know, we can get to Yona there. And so we can't go in through the front because in a cutscene that we skipped, the bridge was destroyed. So we decided to take the now usable ferry system. So if I remember correctly, you could still use it as a child. We just don't in the speedrun. We use it more in the adult part. Yeah, so we've taken the ferry to the back entrance of the shrine. And so we're going to basically do what we did in the beginning, but as an adult. Now, this shrine visit is going to look very different. It's going to be a lot more fancier. We're going to skip a lot more content, thanks to the movement tech of this game. So there, I try to gain a bunch of height before I hop on the ladder, because ladder climbing is slow. So instead, we do a guard lift into a heavy, into a double jump, into a heavy, into a dash. there. Since Guardlift was not playing nice, we went ahead and just skipped it. All right.
Once again, with the ladder climbing, I've got the Snake Eater theme in my head. Fun times.
That infamous ladder climb in Snake Eater. It's like an entire game itself.
Place certainly could use a remodel.
So here I'm trying to ladder clip, but my fingers are betraying me on placement. There we go. Clip the ladder. So now we're already at the top, instead of going through all those rooms like we did before. And we're done. So like I said, as an adult, it's a lot quicker to get through the shrine than as a child, where we have to like climb and walk the rooms and fight enemies. We just kind of skip all that over invisible walls.
Kaine, Emil, look, from now on, I'm going to sleep outside with you.
I've always heard that walls were just a suggestion, and this game is really proving that.
In the village.
Yep.
It's stupid.
So you're staging a protest? Fun.
Don't waste your time.
But it just feels wrong.
Well, that's really nice of you, but you still don't have to stay out here with us.
All right. Can we do the
Super
skip?
important mission. You can't sleep out in the rain. What if
And then looks like we've got, yeah, we'll do the magic form.
besides? I like camping with Kaine. Sometimes we sit around the fire and tell stories or roast.
Neil, that's enough. What a fucking image to maintain.
Here we gotta fight a group of enemies.
Surrounded by a mob of helpless puppies. Just kick them aside.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of thick walls. So there's not as many skips as you would want there to be, but for what has been found, it's pretty impressive nonetheless. But yeah, there's definitely some thick walls. Yeah, Automata has actually a lot more skips compared to this.
What's going on? There's dozens of them.
These are creatures of the darkness. Lure them to the light. Pathetic to the end, I see.
Here we're gonna fight
For that statue. It's
the remaining person. I can't remember. I think this is Gretel, who survived the previous battle. They're now in our way. We're actually going to strength capsule. So we can't get too close after a while because that shield goes up. We have to run backwards to stop the shield. All right, save the phase. All right, so that's it for phase one. Looks like we got the spin the wind mode. A little unfortunate. That's fine. Get through the battle pretty quick anyway.
Kaine. Hurry.
That's it for Gretel, but Kaine is about to go crazy on us. And so now we got to deal with Kaine.
It's Kaine's shade.
So this battle ends once Emil kind of pins her down. So this battle can kind of vary on length of time. All right, so come on, Emil. Come on, Emil.
Please, come back to us.
All right, whoo! That got close.
I don't.
Automata has walls, supposedly. Alright, here we're just gonna roll so we don't have to do the weapon put away animation, which loses a few seconds. So here is where we discover an item called a fragment. So just like how we were collecting sealed verses in the first half, we are going to be collecting not sealed, but we're going to be collecting fragments to create this shape to try and get into the Shadow Lord castle in hopes of saving Yona, who's been taken to the Shadow Lord's castle. So now we're going to basically revisit all the places we went to before in hopes of finding those fragments. So this is where we need to be very careful about how we pick our dialogue options, because if we pick the wrong dialogue option, it is going to send us on the wrong path. So we got to start with the junk heap for the first part. Is the ideal starting point, because I've definitely done a few runs where I've picked the wrong dialogue option. That has led to some very interesting things. It just kind of it just messes up with the order.
This game's an RPG, it's a bullet hell, and now it's a Metroidvania?
Yes.
Okay.
Told you, this game is a lot of genres in one.
It really is.
Thankfully, we don't need items to progress like in Metroidvanias.
Well, that's a relief at least.
So we kind of messed up the guard lift there, but we made it up for it on the second attempt, or on the other part, so still skip some of the laddering. If you guard lift properly, you can actually get over to the top of the scaffolding without having to climb really any ladder but the last one. Well, supposedly in the 2010 version, Rod, because Luis isn't in that version like it is in this version, it is more lenient with progression. Like, it doesn't matter which option you pick. But I have learned the hard way that if I want to do Luis first, I have to pick a specific option first. I sadly found out.
The junkie. Perhaps we should speak to the brothers. They might know something about this.
But yeah,
I have a
so
very serious question.
what's up?
Do we ever find out what the secret dish is?
Which secret dish?
In the journal, the kid keeps talking about a secret dish that she's gonna feed to Papa Nier.
Oh, no, we don't, I believe. Or it's one of the side quests. Admittedly, I can't remember. It might be one of the side quests you do. Yeah, it's a side quest.
It's a shame about the older lad. He was but a child.
Sounds like you went into a dangerous area for the sake of the business.
So from here, we find out that the older brother has unfortunately died. And so only the younger brother remains. And he has a big disdain for shades as a result of it. So once again, we want to see about upgrading our weapons. And we need to go collect the memory alloy this time to be able to upgrade weapons. So once again, we're back in the junk heap trying to collect stuff.
Just making his little brother happy would have been enough. That's what being an older brother is like.
Once again, we just travel pretty much through the junk heap, fighting waves of enemies. So this is the part of the run where your buffs for the run are going to be determined by the amount of money you get. Now, there were versions of this route where the money you got determined which weapon you'd buy, but for consistency, we now get a weapon called the Usurper Sphere, because it's a lot cheaper. It's only a little bit weaker than the Phoenix Sphere, which is the weapon we used to get, and it doesn't rely as much on getting like very good drops here. But so far we've already doing pretty good. We've got a couple yellow drops. Damascus Steel is about 6,400. That Amber was 3,000. So right there we've already got like 9,000 in gold, which is super handy. So we're hoping for yellow drops. Now those could be the only two we get, but thankfully we had good money going into this, so even if those are the only two we get, we should be okay to, you know, still be able to kind of salvage some elements of it. Plus we got a titanium alloy there, which does sell for at least some money. That's worth using. So sometimes we push the... Oh, got a couple more yellow drops. Let's see, that's another 3k. That's another 6k. Yeah, I think we're good on money, thankfully. We're definitely good on money, so we should be able to not only afford our weapon, but enough buffs to get us through until the final shop. Yeah, that is also true. The remake has also been a lot friendlier when it comes to enemy drop RNG compared to the original game, because I do remember, because I got all the trophies in the original game. I remember painstakingly farming items because you have to upgrade all the weapons to max, and whoo, man, that process is painful. Because some of the item drops are so rare and only like 1 or 2 enemies drop it. But here we're just fighting a few waves of enemies. So these guys go down pretty quickly, thankfully. And that is it for the big old robot. And got a titanium alloy. So you have a chance there. It's a rare chance to get another memory alloy, because the first memory alloy you have to give for the quest, but the second one you can just sell for money, and it sells for more money than a titanium alloy does. Here we just are going to take a somewhat of a shortcut back to the elevator, because now we are done at the junk heap for now. The timing on this one is a little tight. We have to basically pretty much throw the bomb almost immediately. You throw it like the minute those doors are like opening, we need to throw that bomb. It is very easy to miss the timing on that and then get blown up by something. And that is pretty much it for the junk heap for now. We'll come back later, but it is not the main point of this. Is just kind of preemptively setting us up for the second visit to the junk heap, because you have to come to the junk heap, basically finish this quest, because then you have to wait for some time to pass until you get a letter from the brother that your upgrade request has been completed. So this allows you to you know, do something, you know, basically work on something else in the meantime. Can't wait for Gideon to be Gideon. Yeah, good old, yeah, that's Gideon for you. So after we talk to Gideon and kind of finish this quest, we have to speak to Popola as our next option. If we don't speak to Popola as our next option, it will kind of throw the intended route that we want to take kind of out of whack. So we want to go speak to Popola, because this will trigger the Louise portion of the side quest. or not side quest, but of the storyline. The reason we want to go to Louise first is because in Seafront sells the weapon that we're going to use for the rest of, pretty much the last lance, because we'll still switch depending on the battle, but it's the last lance weapon that we're going to use for the rest of the run, the Usurper Sphere. And so by getting it first, it makes the boss battles that we're going to fight more like, you know, easier in a way, because we're going to be stronger and have more magic power on a lance weapon, plus the damage that the lance weapon would procure. Yeah, from here we're just gonna head to Seafront. Well, first we're gonna go talk to Popola, then we're gonna head to Seafront. Everything's looking in your end there, Cupcakes.
They are looking about the same as they were. We are still raising money for Emre's family, who unfortunately lost their home to a fire in early January. Money raised here is going to go towards demolition costs. The family is tremendously grateful for everything we are doing for them. We've got plenty of bid wars going right now, naming the protagonist in Star Ocean First Departure, or choosing Shulk's outfit for Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected. And I am just running out of jokes to make about this game because I don't know it that well.
This feels familiar. I'm sure that couple is merely having another one of their inane spats. Let us do our utmost not to get dragged into it this time.
Whoops. Go. All right. Didn't quite get the guard lift there, so we were about to fall into the water. We had to keep ourselves out of it. Even as an adult, we still can't swim.
Some people just never learn how to swim.
This is true, actually. That actually is completely fair. My mother actually does not know how to swim. All right. So we're going to talk to so the ferry has become inoperable because the ferryman has gone missing, which is probably why you wonder why I didn't take the ferry to Seafront. And so we're going to go talk to his wife and find out that he's missing. She has no idea where he's at.
And here we go again.
But before we continue on, we're going to find out how our money's holding up for things. So let's sell everything we got, other than the important stuff. Yep, that should be it. Cool. We have way too much money.
Didn't the ferryman and his wife break up?
No.
Okay.
Nope. They may fight a lot, but they are ever so much still in love with each other. And put up with each other.
Okie dokie.
To think that couple's
Alright, and then from here we're gonna buy our buff items. So we might be able, so the good news is we have so much money that we can go 10 and 10 and still have at least, because we only really need 2,000 gil to be able to upgrade our weapon at this point. And we had way too much money. So we went ham on the buffs. 10 and 10. So we're gonna have fun with our enemies here. Because normally, for perspective, normally all I buy there is 6 strength buffs and 2 magic buffs. So the fact that I could afford 10 and 10 means that I'll be able to be a little more loose on item usage to try and get through these battles faster as a result.
If you ask me, that particular couple could.
So we came back to the village to see if we could find if he had come this way, but he did not. So we talked to the guard. Guard didn't see anybody. So now we're gonna go back to Seafront and do some more investigating.
cannot believe how many trips we have made simply to track
Would you
down
say that you are
this
going to be
soul.
on the boar again?
It's all right
Just
to do
can't
this
wait
kind
to
of
be
thing
on the
every
boar
now
again?
I only pray
I
this
would.
is not the calm before some manner of storm. Say there, lad, have you ever penned a missive?
Good, I like puns. I'm here for it. On the boar again. Yeah, wait to get on the boar again.
No, I'm not big on writing.
I'm just glad
It always
somebody
takes me
got the
forever to
joke.
Figure out what I want to say.
What's to figure out? One simply takes quill in hand and unleashes their
Hey, do what I
soul
can.
upon
Do what
the
I can.
canvas of the page.
Alright, so we go by the post office, see if they've heard anything. No luck there. So we decide to go investigate. So we're kind of told that, you know, there's a boat has basically crashed on shore on the beach. So if you recall earlier, there was no boat there. Well, now there is a massive boat there that was not there prior. So we decided to go investigate the boat for any signs of the postman. Not the postman, the ferry guy.
We're gonna need to figure out some way to get inside that thing.
This ship is in a state of wanton decay.
We can
All
Yay,
right.
we've got a pirate ship.
Pirate ship indeed. Yar, mateys.
Check that off the anime list.
What? A ship?
Pirate ship,
Is that even an anime thing other than One Piece? Realistically?
probably.
All right, so we're going to interact with that because it cuts off some of the dialogue. So instead of running all the way over here and then getting the dialogue and waiting to interact with the lantern, by interacting with that starting point, it skips some dialogue and allows us to pick up the lantern earlier. So now we're on the ship. We're just, we're looking for the missing ferryman. We're doing it in fancy side viewpoint platforming, whatever something I'm trying to put here. This commentary's failing.
2D and 3D, they do it in Sonic games all the time.
There you go. 2D and 3D. Sure, they do it in Sonic games all the time.
They need to stop.
Well, what is it? Sonic Frontier? Got some open world stuff coming.
Yes, Sonic in Breath of the Wild. I'm looking forward to that.
I think it could be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. All right, so we're on the ship here. So yeah, it's basically just kind of progressing on the ship. There's no enemies in this area, so there's not too much to worry there. Didn't actually mean to go through the door there. A momentary lapse in remembering, but we actually have to move this bookcase first before we go through the door, because we can't actually get to the other side because of it. So grab 1,000 gil there. Probably realistically for this run, I didn't actually need that because I'm sitting on a lot of money.
A hidden room. How delightful.
But let's call it me not wanting to get out of the habit of it for when I do need it, because then that'll be the time I forget to pick it up and it hurts me. Plus, it's like a couple seconds. The time saved from not picking it up is null and void, ultimately. So we are mostly skipping some of the exploration. Like if you were to actually explore each of these rooms, there are things that you can find that would add more context and more to the lore. This is one of the new sections that was completely added into this version of the game, that is completely absent from the OG version of the game. This is based on one of the side stories. I forgot the name of it. It's something about a mermaid. But yeah, this is based on one of the books for the world of Nier.
Is that?
So we fell through a platform, found our lantern, and we were gonna find the truth. And then sadly, R.I.P. Fairy Guy, we found him. He's dead, sadly.
That just keeps happening to you.
Yeah, I've always said this game is not a game of happiness, sadly. There are a lot of elements to it that are on the sadder side, unfortunately. Like, good things will happen, but then they're immediately outweighed by something bad happening. And see how we did on weapons. All right, 15% attack boost. I'll take it. It's better than some runs where it's only like 5%, so can't be too mad about that.
Can you get better than 15%?
Yes, I think the highest I've gotten is 25. There may be something even higher than 25, but I realistically can't remember. But yeah, you can definitely get higher than 15%. There was one run I actually had, I think it was like 20% for magic and 25% for physical. It was awesome. So here we find out that the little ghost girl is not who we think she is. She's actually been luring people to the boat and killing them. Though the postman seems to be somewhat friendly with her. She seems to not want to harm him, ultimately. And so now bad stuff has happened. Louise, as she goes by, has basically gone crazy at this point, and so we need to get out of here because the inside of the ship is collapsing. Bad stuff is happening, and so we need to get out.
Looks like we can get out through that hole up there.
And we need to have a showdown with Louise. And so thankfully, thanks to the amount of strength drops I have, I can easily use a number of those to help get us through this battle as fast as possible. Now we're going to fight Louise. Louise is a big kind of like run killing point, especially on normal, because she does so much damage if you get hit by one of these tentacles.
Why isn't this shade being hurt by the sun?
So we're going to use our strength drop, and then we're just going to basically wail
It most certainly is being burned by the sunlight.
on the tentacle as fast as possible.
Regenerative abilities far outpace whatever damage the light is able to inflict. This light, something is coming. Get out of the way at once.
So we only boosted magic, so physical is not as boosted, which is fine.
It was actually this thing.
But looks like we got the end of phase 1.
Don't stop now. Focus on the next one.
Hit the face a little bit, and we'll deal with the tentacles.
Get to those people. The town will be in grave danger should we lose.
So these things do hurt the tentacles, so we do need to be careful at the damage they can do.
Someone honestly took a look at this game and went, you know what we need? More tentacles.
So unfortunately, magic wasn't charged up enough to... Yeah, Yokotar is that someone. There goes the second tentacle.
Attack with all that you have.
And there goes phase 1. So phase 2 is scripted. It's 100% scripted.
Think it could recover
So
from such a grievous
all we have to do is basically just survive. Because Louise will try to kill us, and we can die. But we can't actually win. Even if I was, let's say, able to do the appropriate amount of damage, at a certain point, and I've tested this by, spamming the heck out of Dark Blast here, at some point, the Louise will just full heal herself. So this is technically an unwinnable battle.
Can't believe such a huge shade.
So we just have to kind of survive a couple waves of attacks until a cutscene, and then another, and then we basically take a laser to the face.
That thing ain't normal, so stay smart unless you want to get dead.
This thing will destroy
So
the
and
town.
ground slam again. We jump to avoid or dodge. I just jump to avoid it easier. Stand far back so it doesn't hurt you. or can reach you. You stand in this corner over here, and then these little falling dagger things won't hurt you. They won't catch you, so you're safe there.
The number of spears flying our way is increasing. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I can't remember who wrote those side stories either.
My word, if this continues.
Has anyone tried giving Louise a candy bar?
Over here!
Yeah, I don't think she likes Snickers, sadly.
We don't know that.
You see this? You see the size of this thing? You try giving it a candy bar. So here you would think, oh, we just got to spam to win. Yeah, sadly the damage isn't high enough, so we basically can't do anything but eat this hit to the face. So we take the hits. We get more dialogue. He's gonna shoot us again. Basically like on death's door at this point.
I think we're in trouble.
My body won't. Damn it! Fuck!
So thankfully the postman steps in, and she's somewhat in love with the postman, and so she just doesn't care to fight anymore because he seems to be upset at her. So we're gonna use this opportunity to
We can
put her out of her misery,
You disgust me.
and that is Louise. So got past one of the bigger run killers, especially on normal. Like on normal, some of those ground pounds with tentacle like will basically one shot you. Like you have to be like either got dark wall up to eat the hit, or you just need to like jump or dodge roll out of the way ultimately. So Ferryman's wife, we've given her the bad news, as we've been doing this entire game, giving people bad news. And so she is upset, understandably. And we've got our sealed verse, but sadly the world is sadder for it. So now we're gonna go investigate some other stuff. So we're gonna go talk to Popola, kind of about what happened.
Hey, Kane,
Yeah.
you were threatening that shade on the beach the other day? How did you know it was trying to protect the postman?
Just a feeling, I guess.
All right.
All right.
So have we named the boar yet?
Have we named the boar? I don't know. I feel cliche, and I want to say Pumbaa.
Pumbaa's good. Or just bacon.
Ah, one of those nicknames. Naming the animal after the type of food that's made from it.
I mean, do they make boar bacon? I don't know.
Headbutt's not bad.
I like headbutt.
Your health is diminished. Do be more careful next time.
Yeah, sadly, we got to tell Popola that that the ferryman is no longer with us.
Oh,
So now we decided we're going to kind of head back home and check our mailbox. Sir Francis Borkin. I like it.
I also like it. That's a good one.
So we're gonna check our mail, and we're gonna find out that we've been invited to a wedding of the King of Facade. So let's go attend the wedding. So it's been 5 years. Apparently the little king has decided to wed, and so we've been invited to his wedding.
Party time.
Wedding, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones.
Does it not strike you as curious to find wolves in the
Should it?
completely fair. So I'm actually ignoring these like whatever those like
Certainly guess what they've been eating.
monument things are on the right side, because if I go near one, it's going to trigger a cutscene, kind of explaining what they are. They're like an under sand tunnel system for getting around the desert area faster. Because there's a side quest you do, or not even really a side quest. There's like an item you get, and it allows you to use them. And you know, we want to save the frame, so we don't want to, you know, listen to that cutscene. We're going to use the ferry system because it's much faster than jumping in the sand. Need some good names. Only ones you can think of are too boring.
Boo.
That we booted that one. So we see the king, he's older, and we find out that the king is actually getting ready to marry Fira, the little girl we skipped. We're gonna attend Fira and the king, the prince. I don't think he has an actual name. I think he's just called the Prince of Facade. Or if he has the name, then I've totally missed what that is. But we're gonna attend their wedding.
Petition to name the prince Prince Purple Rain.
Mission granted.
Sweet.
Gonna have ourselves a final pep talk with the king here about, you know, life. Yeah, see, he's literally just called the King of Facade.
Aw, weddings are the best. There's flowers everywhere. Everyone's happy. It's just great. I'm kind of jealous.
Now we're waiting to talk to the advisor here.
Oh, come on.
Sadly, things aren't great. Rock, the Shade Wolf, has decided to...
The leader seems to have the power to reflect magic.
So, Rock is the name of this wolf.
The wolves appear to be targeting you.
Yeah, we got the fast takedown. So if you counter Rock and you're using a strength buff, you can basically one-shot it with the counter attack, which is what we were trying to do there. Some targeting mishaps were a little unfortunate, but we made it work. And then we're going to go see the King of Facade, who wants to get revenge on Rock for killing his bride. So Fira dies. Probably should have pointed that out. Fira actually dies during the attack, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't remember what Emil's like plot point for this section is. But yeah, Emil is involved in some capacity here. But yeah, so we're gonna form a little group of minions here, and we're gonna go take out Rock.
Will we also be taking out Rock's companion Roll?
I think Roll's already dead.
Oh, rip.
Good Sonic reference. I think that was Sonic, right?
That was Mega Man.
It was Mega Man. No, you're right. It was Mega Man. Rock and Roll. Yeah, sorry. All right. How's RNG here? All right, cool. We didn't get the bad RNG. So now we just need to get on the ledge. So we're going to bust through a wall here and weaken Rock early. So the ensuing follow-up battle will go a lot quicker. So we call this rock skip. So can't fully kill him because he is going to heal up as a result when it is actually time to fight him. So normally when you fight him, what happens is you got to take out these waves of enemies, these waves of wolves, and then he hops off the ledge and you can kill him. But what you can do is with the movement tech, you can push through an invisible barricade and you can get on the ledge and basically fight him uncontested to get him like super weak. So when you actually get him off the ledge, he goes down very quickly afterwards, because then he basically has like next to no HP at that point. So we're going to, like I said, buff up magic to try and make sure we get through this as quickly as possible. These waves, sadly the humanoid NPCs are like literally getting in my way, and so it's making for some very awkward battles. So Rock should go down pretty quickly. See, he's pretty much down and out. We weakened him beforehand. And Rock is down. Rocky loves Emily. Rocky loves Emily.
I am so upset that I understand that reference.
Why is that? It's a great
Because it
movie.
just reminds me of how old I am.
Me too. Alright, so we decided that we're going to go find out if the junk heap has reached out to us, basically for our weapon upgrade that we commissioned. And so that's where we're going. We're going to go check our mail again. Ah, interesting.
They
Did
should have
not-
made that more clear.
Alright, so we're going to head to the junk heap. And the way we're going to do it is we're actually going to use the ferry to get part of the way there instead of going out of the village. So Northern Plains will get us to a portion of it. We'll take the boar the rest of the way. And so this is where we're going to actually upgrade our usurper sphere. One level, because all you need is an iron ore, which we'll buy because he sells it. And so we'll buy the iron ore, we'll upgrade it, and so we'll have like 50% magic, and then of course like higher melee attack. And that's going to pretty much be the last like weapon tweak we do for the rest of the run. And then we're going to casually mess that up, take the long way.
Sometimes you just gotta take the scenic route.
Oh, wait, we got it that time. Sort of. We got a different ladder. Progression one. But we've got another infinite height glitch coming up here. The minecart skip is coming up. So instead of early on in the junk heap, we did that minecart ride. So instead of doing that for a second time, we're basically going to skip that part. And we're going to float through the air.
What can I help you with?
All right, so first we need to buy an iron ore. Then we'll be able to strengthen, and it's at the bottom. All right, now we're stronger. All right, gotta make sure we have the dark hand equipped. All right, so basically we think Gideon thinks he knows where the shade that killed his brother is, and so we are coming back in here to find that shade and to deal with it.
You know, I'm starting to worry about Papa Nier. Everybody's like, take. We need this, we need that. What about Papa Nier's needs?
No, right? Unfortunate. All right.
Get them a candy bar.
Time for the fun once again. The infinite height.
Well, while you're infinite hiding, I will remind everybody that we are raising money for some of Emre's family who lost their home to a fire in early January. All money raised is going to go towards demolition costs, and they are super thankful for everything that we are trying to do for them. We have plenty of bid incentives going on. Still need a name for Star Ocean First Star Departures protagonist. Shulk outfit bid war. Nobody's picking an outfit for Shulk. Don't make Shulk run around without a cool outfit. Come on, guys.
This might be too high. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, and we're done. Basically float to the end zone, and it acts like we're going through it, and it basically moves us forward, like you see there. And then we basically lance the whatever you want out of that enemy. Take him down like nothing. But that was minecart skip. Just floating through the air and counting to 3. At least counting 3 helps me know when to. Because the reason why you have to use that move is it delays your falling animation. And because if I just fell the whole time, the game would eventually treat it as like some level of like fall damage and like act like I fell off the edge into a void. So you have to like dark hand or do something to basically stall your animation and then kind of reset the kind of trigger point for it.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yes, we do.
All right, we got $5 from 3 Shake Break. No comment, but thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, Papa Nier just wants to Papa Nier wants to save his daughter. Brother Nier wants to save his sister, but you know, you get the idea.
I've never heard of a shade living with a machine. What's that about?
So yeah, so apparently
All that matters is that we killed both.
the robot that killed our brother is also hanging out with a shade. Well, not our brother, but Gideon's brother. Evil robot and evil shade.
Looks like we found it.
Went through them.
Intruder detected. Scanning. Scanning. Exterminating.
So here we use the power of the shield from Dark Wall to basically live through the attacks. And so from there we just kind of wail on our buddy here.
Knock it down. Take out the shade.
Exterminating. Ping. Ping.
All right, that's the end of that phase.
This thing can transform.
All right, so now what we need to do is jump off the edge until it kills us. At least try to. We'll see which one finishes first. Us kind of self-sacrificing or the game. Can't remember if he goes up another time. Oh, sorry, no, he doesn't. Okay. So in this case, our health was too high. So normally what you can do there is you can do this thing where you basically you cause a game over because it skips that whole animation sequence from happening as a result. Yeah, I had way too much health. It's the counterpoint to going fast in that section, you could say. Like with the this is when it happens when you have good drops. You go faster than you need to, and so then you can't get some of the skips because that relies on you dying. And unfortunately, I couldn't die quick enough before the animation was over. And Gideon has now lost his mind from hatred and madness.
Popola said
Poor Gideon.
Or Gideon indeed. And as a result, we actually can't use the upgrade system anymore for the rest of the ending. That's why you have to upgrade your weapon before you go in there. Also, just dawned on me, was I using the wrong weapon that whole time? I can't remember. Yeah, I think I made sure I switched to Usurper. Sometimes when you do the infinite height skips, it's not uncommon to forget that you didn't switch your weapon over, and so you find that you're using the wrong weapon, which I was not, thankfully. But all right, so now we're gonna head to the Forest of Myth once again for some more fun text adventure. Now this one's a little different. So this one is not the same. This one is randomized for the first two questions. So there's a little bit of a trick. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's a specific kind of fading out that the screen will do to kind of know when you should stop mashing and kind of let the text go on its own for a little bit.
Yeah,
To try and get through it as fast as possible.
I hear you.
So here we're going to interact with the spot, which will trigger this next section. And then, let's see. All right, so we mash here. There's the fade out. So we're not going to mash too much in the beginning. So blue eyes. So blue is what we need to remember. Fade out. We're going to hit twice, 23. So blue and 23. Blue and 23 is the answers to the questions. So blue, 23. And then this one doesn't matter. The third question is always Yona. If you get any question wrong, it actually kicks you out of the dream, and then you end up having to redo it, and then the answer changes. So that's definitely something you have to be careful of. Obviously, when you're doing the run, to not lose too much time from having to redo any section. And that's pretty much it for the Forest of Myth. Definitely the quicker sections. They're technically slow if you want to read the story, and that's also dependent on how fast you read. So, but in a speedrun, they're very small, quick sections. Now we're gonna head back to Popla, kind of talk to her about everything that's happened up to this point with what we've been through at the Junk Heap, the Forest of Myth. But yeah, we're slowly getting towards the end game. There's maybe technically there might be like 20 minutes of give or take of the run left. So we're hitting the home stretch. All right, more library guard lifting time. Thankfully, with the spear weapon, the elevation from it is, even if you mess up the guard lift, you're generally pretty high enough that you can still kind of force your way above. But we go talk to Popola. She tells us that the Ari has opened up a mercantile, and it just seems weird for the way those people work, because those people don't leave their houses. They're basically like too afraid to leave their house and like everything around them, but they left their house anyway. So we are going to see what that's all about. Maybe buy some stuff along the way. Time for one more final visit to the Ari. And thanks to the power of the movement tech that you can do with the spear, especially when you're in the air, we're going to be able to do what I call Chief's House Skip. So instead of taking, because we have to go check, we have to basically go to the Chief's house for the first part. So instead of going the long way that we did as a child, we're going to use the sphere to actually skip to it from the beginning part, as you'll see here in a moment. And that's Chief House Skip. So we were basically already over by the Chief, having to take the long way. We're going to void out here to warp upwards. And then accidentally almost fall because of weird placement of abilities. All right, and now we're going to head to the center where the mercantile is. Along the way, we're actually going to not reset our spawn point because we want to be able to warp back somewhere. First, we need to stock up on buffs. We have so much money that I didn't need to sell first. And then we're going to talk to this person. And yeah, we'll do land. So they're gonna go crazy, as you can see here. And then we're going to down these enemies. Don't want to get too close to the center because it's going to mess with our spawn point. So we jump off the edge, spawn over here next to Kaine, so we can just skip to this cutscene immediately. And then we're going to use a strength drop and go to town on the enemies.
These people are behaving as if we are the villains.
Kill them! Kill them now!
No, you've got to stop this. I'm trying to save you from the shades. Please, you have to stop.
Here we end up getting, RNG drops, so sometimes we get strength capsules, which are basically just 60-second strength buffs versus what they were, or versus 30 seconds, so it just, saves a little bit of time there. Alright, so we've fought enough enemies to make that happen. So now we need to get over here. Once again, we're going to skip certain parts of the platform. So that way we can...
I blame you for all of this.
Here we have to be cautious because of nonsense like this. The enemy can actually knock you out of the air, and so it's a bit of a time loss, obviously, when you get knocked out of the air. So, got to take out these enemies. So, do the downed attack is the quickest way. And then that spawns Wendy. Yes, this giant floating eyeball is named Wendy. That is correct. So,
Why Wendy?
I wish I knew.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna start charging up the dark shield or dark wall, so we can basically just eat all these, basically get all of our magic replenished as we wail on the eyeball to push the first threshold, which we've done. So now we can't damage Wendy anymore, and we just kind of have to wait for some animation to play out. Ultimately, you know, kind of let some phases happen.
Wait! I think those are actual people!
Nothing back. Those are shades.
So sadly, the little wraparound thingies, whatever you want to call them, do block out my magic moves, so have to wait for them to kind of move. And then that's the end of that phase. So now we're going to jump off the ledge to once again abuse the warp system to get behind Wendy where the weak spot is.
The weak point is located around the back. Try attacking it from above.
So we got lasered in the face.
I'm trying to pin it down!
Emil!
And that is it for that phase. We pushed the threshold.
Did we get it?
It is escaping to the inner level.
I'm coming! Gotta catch my breath.
Careful, Emil. Won't help anyone if we lose you here.
And now the final phase.
We beat the hell out of that thing. How can it still move?
Its combined powers are beyond even my greatest suspicion.
Come on! Help me take it out!
I'm on it.
Someone needs to wash out Papa Mir's mouth with soap.
It's not even Nier. It's I don't think Nier's the one predominantly cursing. It's usually
Fair.
Kaine. Kaine is the one with usually the language. So he still may say stuff, of course. Well, we take out Wendy. The Ari blows up. As you can see, it's gone. So once again, can't do anything else here once this section has been done. So the Ari has been fully destroyed. We've got our final fragment. It is time to finally go and see the Shadow Lord and save our sister. And we have one final infinite height skip. The most dangerous choke point, run killing, PB ending one of them all. As it's in the final dungeon.
So what I'm getting here is that you need silence.
I mean, you are welcome to share some information about what's been going on with the event and letting any of our new viewers know what's going on, but I will probably not talk.
Gotcha.
We should return to Popola and see if she has...
So first we got to talk to Popola. Do our final library guard lift. No more guard lifting in the library after this.
I marvel at how relatively simple a task this retrieval...
So this will be our last trip to the library.
It is
We're just gonna go to Popola, tell her, hey, we got what we need. We're gonna go see the Shadow Lord now.
You're overthinking again, Vice.
But
I don't care if it's a trap.
We do have to do one more set of forced shrine skips like we did earlier, so we'll have that to look forward to. Off we go. All right. What are you talking about, Deed? Thankfully, there's a quick way to autofill in the name I've never done before, because usually I just call him G, because that's the first letter the keyboard sits on. But I should be able to just, I think, type in the first letter, and then I think it's like L1 or something, and it should fill in the rest of it. Yeah, to Deed's comment, we're not there yet, but technically time ends when you enter the name you entered at the beginning. So when we defeat the final boss, that won't be time. It will be when we actually finish the putting the name in. But... oh, that would have been evil. Oh my god, that's too many eyes. All right, so we got to use Dark Wall here to get through the wizard, because that AoE attack you see there will knock us off the ledge. So we use Dark Wall to eat the hits. We got to move quick because it will wear out. We got the preferred ladder skip type thing there, so it worked out. All right, one more set of 4 shrine skips. Oh my god, there's L's in it. That's terrible, Rod. That's just evil.
Well, I was gonna make a joke about that name being an eyeful, but Rod went and ruined it.
All right, little trouble getting the guard lift there, so we'll just take the slightly different version. That's not good. Hit the wrong button, so we didn't do the right move. All right. Whew. Little mishap, but we recovered. All right, woo! All right, even though we had to kind of try the one part there, we made it work. So it is an unfortunate time loss, but we should be able to still make up for it. All right, done with the Force Shrine, so let's head into the Shadow Castle. The Shadow Lord's Castle, where we'll perform the Shadow Lord Skip, which I think is like, I think it's like 8 to 10 minute time save with the skip we're gonna do here over what you would normally. Basically, we're gonna skip a bunch of like battles and a boss battle, like 2 boss battles and a bunch of like random encounters that are all time based once again, by performing this upcoming skip. All right, so this is bottom, bottom, top for the dialogue choices.
Well then.
All right.
Seems the way is open.
All right. Time to do the Shadow Lord skip. So the Shadow Lord skip is done in the middle of this boss battle against Devila and Popola. Gasp! They betrayed us.
I'm somehow not surprised.
Is anybody at the end of the day? But it's skip time.
Devil, what's happening?
Sorry, but this fate was predetermined. Still, we spoke to truth. We really wanted to avoid this possible. We were hoping to put it up for 100
Take a deep breath, Wody.
years.
Yeah, everybody remember to breathe during this?
Until the next generation came along.
Are you talking about?
They share fates.
I don't think so. It's a lie. I don't believe it.
Got it.
Woohoo!
Woo! Everybody can breathe.
Yes, good.
All
So
right,
what all did that skip?
So that room we just walked out of, you would normally fight a bunch of enemies in, and then you would fight a giant boar named Goose. Like an unkillable boar named Goose. And then after a while, you would run away from Goose and he would be chasing you up these stairs here. And then you would fight him again in this upcoming room that we're coming to. So then, yeah, then you would fight Goose in this room, and then the King of Facade would show up and basically be like, look, we'll deal with this thing, you just keep going. Plus, we also skipped fighting Devila and Popola, which is like a two-phase battle. So, yeah, it's a huge time save for the any percent category. It's like close to 10 minutes, most likely, because a lot of what happens ends up being scripted. And so you end up losing time, obviously, because you have to like wait for dialogue to happen, wait for other things to happen. So, but instead, we're just gonna jump right to fighting Devila and Popola. So we're gonna do their phase 2 battle. So you fight them, they run away, and then, you know, we do everything else. This is where they reveal a bunch of plot details about Project Gestalt. Now we need to go ham on our old friend here. So we got to fight the two of them. So need to be careful, because if our shield breaks, the dark hand move she does is very painful, and it does cause a lot of knockback. So we want to get through her as fast as possible. Yes, got through her. Woo! All right, right, so now we got to deal with her sister.
Please, don't do this, Popola.
We're going to use a magic drop here.
To me.
Those two have watched the world with us from time immemorial.
So we're gonna we're gonna attack her as much as we can. Some of this dialogue does have to pass through, which is why like she's not going down as fast as her sister did. But eventually, it should work out for us. So right here, basically going to finish off the battle. Bam, and she's down. How you doing over there, Cupcakes?
This entire thing is insane.
Oh, and Emil just died, by the way, in that cutscene.
Oh. Is there anybody who doesn't die in this video game?
Not really.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the prep.
Trying to take down the big guys. This is the normal game. That is correct. So we like to use our big fist move to really hurt the big guys. Little guys go down pretty quick. So as you defeat enemies, they do like make your magic like recover. All right, that's it for the wave of enemies. And now it's time for the Shadow Lord battle.
This ends here.
Strike hard. Hold nothing back.
I was gonna make a joke about werewolves, but literally nobody's gonna get it unless they play World of Darkness.
Don't speak in such a manner.
Fair enough. You're right. I mean, I wouldn't get it. But that is it for the Grimoire Noir. So now we're going to deal with the Shadow Lord himself. So we can actually kind of stun lock him. And that should be phase one. All right, that's phase one.
Kaine, watch over Yoda for me. You hardly ever understand your sadness. Think I'm gonna sympathize with you? I swore to protect my sister and my friends. If someone puts them in danger, they must stand aside or be cut down. Now come on, let's finish this. Vice, what's wrong?
Well, this seems insane.
Yep. All right. Final 3 hits. You just got to push through. That's hit 1.
I have something to defend. I have a reason to live.
That's hit 2. That's hit 3. All right, now we just need to put in, we got to smash some dialogue, put in a name, and then it's over. So we got to get ready for time. Got to get ready for time. The minute I confirm name, it's time. It's gonna be close, Deed. It's gonna really depend on how fast I can mash. And how quickly I can put in the name. Alright. Mash some dialogue, I'm putting the name in. No! No! No, 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 no. Papa, Nier. Done! Time! That's time! Oh! Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse. I'm sorry. Oh!
I'm still waiting for the video to catch up so I can see a time on that.
Yeah, let's say, what's the final time? I have a final time on my end. I wonder if it matches what your end is.
From what I'm seeing here, final time was 3 hours, 45 minutes, and 49 seconds.
That is a new world record, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else.
Nice.
Bigger than before.
I got 3 hours, 45 minutes, and 45 minutes. I'm sorry, keys are on. My bad.
This whole time?
I didn't mean it.
He said ship. It's okay. He said ship with a P on the end.
Oh yeah, I said yeah, totally ship. We're talking about like a ship, like a boat. I was talking about a
Like
boat.
pirate.
100% about a boat. Yeah, I got 3 hours. I got 3 hours, 45 minutes, and 45 is at least what I got. I might have been off by a little bit. But yes, that is a world record.
Guess
You could stay with us, you know.
I can't believe my troll name almost cost me. That was on me. I should. I typed in G first, out of old habits.
I got my own
Oh man.
What do you mean?
personal shit.
Whew.
Anyway,
I was not expecting.
easy.
So for context, because y'all couldn't see my splits, I was over 2 minutes. I was 2 minutes behind my PB after Rock. That's how unlikely I was expecting that. So I was not expecting to save a minute over the next several splits and then be ahead by 20 seconds after the Shadow Alert skip. And we messed up doing the Lost Shrine skip, so that was easily another 20 seconds. Whew. Well, that was unexpected.
That was amazing.
Well, thank you all for the GGs. I mean, pretty much it on my end. So when y'all want to take us out, I know I'm ahead. I estimated 4 hours, so I know we're like probably 15 minutes ahead in the marathon now. As a result, or maybe I don't know where we stand, but thank you all. Thanks for letting me showcase this run to help Emery's parents earn some money to pay for the demolition costs for their house. So please get out there, donate, help a member of our community. Any little you can, $1 goes a long way. Put them towards these incentives. Let these runners showcase some of these incentives, especially when it's beyond things like cosmetic stuff. So let's get out there. Let's help everyone out. But thank you so much for letting me partake and showcase one of my runs.
It sure is.
And that's all I've got on my end. If you want to learn the run Nier, come join us. We have a wonderful community. I'll need a copy of this to submit, by the way.